to the arcade. Only the second hit this year for Bellinger against the Giants. He had had one hit in 35 at-bats against Giants pitching before that home run. His 5th home run this year.
5 home runs for Bellinger, but he'll take it. He'll take it. And the Dodgers will take that 8-0 lead, and oh, baby. That game was over quick last night at Oracle Arena as we get ready for the NBA draft. It is finally draft day, 5 p.m. today, West Coast time. Warriors on the clock for 7-14. We're going to dive all into that, but real quick, the Giants, big day game for them. David Price against Johnny Cueto. Walker Buehler. I mean, once you got the 4 runs in the 3rd inning, Shasky, it basically was lights out. This man is 3-0 now against the Giants this season with a 0.79 ERA. The guy's given up 3 runs in 34 innings. Just was one of those nights at the yard where the Giants is like, you know what? Let's just try to win a series on an afternoon game later on today.
Yeah, I mean, look, you want to go hyper-focus on DeSclafani and be negative. I would just say it seems to be a clearly tough matchup for him.
Yep.
And I don't really have any worries or concerns regarding DeSclafani moving forward.
Right.
The Dodgers are a tough matchup, and they're a tough matchup for a lot of specific pitchers.
Right.
And I think just for him and Gausman, for whatever reason, the Dodgers see them well. They have a really good approach. He kind of got out of some jams in the last 2 outings before last night, and last night he couldn't.
Yep.
And, seeing Bellinger kind of awake from his slumber, that has me a little worried.
It does.
The most concerning thing this morning, obviously the trade deadline that's looming over the organization. And what the heck is going on with Buster Posey after taking that shot off the face? I couldn't help but think about Mike Matheny.
That's a great call. I mean, he left the game with dizziness in the top of the 4th inning. Got hit with the foul ball in the 1st inning off the mask. Wasn't right. Got to expect him not to be in the lineup later on today. Usually he doesn't play in day games after night anyway. But how long will Buster Posey be out? They're checking for concussions, for a concussion with Buster Posey. No word on that yet. I think the MRIs came back clean or the CAT scans or whatnot. But it is a concern because you bring up Mike Matheny. And I know we're not going to be overly concerned with DeSclafani, but let me throw some numbers at you, Shasky. This guy, in 102 innings in 16 starts versus every team other than the LA Dodgers. DeSclafani has a 1.78 ERA in 102 innings in 16 starts against every other team not named the Dodgers. Well, against the Dodgers in 5 starts this season, 9.43 ERA. He's been getting lit up, and he didn't even last past the 3rd inning. So not only just diving in on DeSclafani, my biggest concern now is, what if Max Scherzer goes to the Dodgers? What if he goes to the Dodgers? And you got to worry about Walker Buehler and Max Scherzer. To me, it put even more emphasis on the Giants going out to make a move. I know Brandon Belt's starting a rehab assignment later on today in Sacramento. I know Crawford is going to be back today. But they need another starter, Shasky. They really do. And they got to go all in on Max Scherzer, I believe.
Well, if you were looking at, like, it's not a carcass because it's not like they had a horrible season. But if you're looking at the body here and you're trying to diagnose what you need, the $1 million man, if you will, Steve Austin. If I'm sitting here and I'm trying
Great
to
doc, by the way.
What?
Great documentary by Steve Austin.
Absolutely.
His stock went up in my book after watching this documentary.
Well, I'm talking about the $1 Million Man, the television show, where I bionically put him back together. I'm going more Guru 70s with you right now. But the way I'm looking at this is like, I said it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I know you've said it. I think a lot of Giants fans have said it. They're not a one-move team right now. Even though they're in the best position you can be in baseball at the top, they're a team that needs starting pitching, right? They need a little bullpen help. So does every team in the league. And they absolutely need to acquire an everyday left fielder and specifically a right-handed power bat.
Right.
Given all of the injuries that they've had, they have really done a fantastic job weathering the storm. That being said, boy, it would really be a bolster to that dugout if they just added to what they have right now. And that's kind of where I'm at this morning. It's like I'm staring at the clock, I'm staring at Twitter, I'm staring at the Giants dugout, and I'm saying, Farhan, what are you waiting for? Every day that goes by is a day that you're missing out on having whoever you acquire have some impact on this season. season. It could come down to 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about all that. 888-957-9572. We're going to take your calls all day. This is a huge day in the Bay Area with Giants-Dodgers finishing a 3-game set. But the NBA draft is later on tonight. The draft that we've all been waiting for with the Warriors holding the 7th and 14th pick in the NBA draft. What do you want to see the Warriors do? It feels like every single team right now in the Bay Area, and even the Oakland A's, who made a move yesterday, was trading away Luzardo for Sterling Marte, a 32-year-old outfielder with 22 stolen bases on the season and 7 home runs. They've had an outfield problem outside of Laureano and Marcana, so they make a move, giving up on Luzardo. What do you want to see the Giants do? Because yesterday, Shasky, a lot of people were saying, keep Joey Bart, keep Joey Bart. Well, what's going to satisfy you this season? With the Giants having the best record in baseball, they're now 7-8 against the Dodgers. I think they're a piece away from being a legit World Series team. Are people just cool with making the playoffs and saying, it's been a good year. It's been a lot of fun. We kept our farm. We kept our prospects. Do you want to see them go for it? It's that simple because the Dodgers will go for it. The Padres will go for it.
Let me ask you a question.
The Brewers even made a move yesterday.
What's that?
The Brewers even made a move yesterday.
I know. The Luzardo, just for a second, let's bookmark the Giants talk. Just the Luzardo thing, I found it interesting how quickly we pivoted off of he could be a generational ace. Oh, maybe he's scuffling right now. He needs to get his. All of a sudden, he's a throw-in. I know he's the centerpiece, but he's a guy that you're going to get for a rental that is going to leave only for 2 months. It's just crazy how quickly that accelerated on him.
That was wild.
Right?
Wild.
Because a couple years ago, we were talking about him like, he could be the next Francisco Liriano. Oh, my God.
Now he goes to Miami, and they have a nice young rotation. Maybe he could get corrected there, but the A's making a move for Marte, who will be a free agent. It's a nice, sneaky move for the Oakland A's, no doubt.
It is, and if you're the Marlins, it's a flyer.
Yep.
Hey, this is a guy who's highly touted. Let's see if we can get him in our system, get him healthy, and let's keep him upright. And what is he? Is he a starter? Is he a bullpen guy? I got to find that out. Now, regarding the Giants, I want to throw a scenario at you. Remember when the Washington Nationals, and this isn't an exact metaphor here, but I'm just asking out loud. Remember when the Washington Nationals shut down Steven Strasburg?
I do.
In the playoffs? Mm-hmm. You think they regret that 10 years later?
I think so.
Right?
I think so.
Why?
Because they blew an opportunity to win the World Series.
Exactly.
Now, they did win one a couple years ago, so some people are going to say, we don't have to worry about that. But there's no doubt in my mind they regret it. No doubt.
Well, and think about it. You kind of burned a year of Bryce Harper. You burned a year of Strasburg. And you like to think, we got this huge future. I just watched Steven Strasburg go on the DL again for the 8 billionth time with a neck injury. And he's done for the season. And I had him in fantasy, and I dropped him a couple of weeks ago. And the point where I'm getting at here is that you like to believe things are going to be a certain way for the next 10 years. And we do this in sports in general. It's not just the Giants, but we do this all the time.
All the time.
Oh, the next 10 years are going to be X. Mm-hmm. Next 10 years is not guaranteed to you. I thought Bowman was going to the Hall of Fame. His career was forever altered. I thought Mike Matheny was going to be a Giant for 2 or 3 years. Gets hit in the face mask. His career's done. He's over. He's finished. We've seen this with Tim Lincecum. Yep. We've seen this with Matt Cain. We're just talking about Luzardo. And my bigger takeaway is that you can take all the precautions in the world and things still might not play out the way you like them to. So when you put yourself in a position and you have an opportunity that the Giants have right now where you are sitting with a great opportunity to win the NL West and give yourself a 5-game chance, you got to bolster what you have. I'm not saying you got to throw away all the future. I'm saying you got to be discerning enough to realize the opportunity is now.
I agree.
And I'm willing to surrender something that I do really like, but I don't necessarily think is at full value. And that's where I'm doing the calculus right now. And I'm saying, now is more important than whatever I hope Joey Bart to be down the line, because I've seen a little. And even my highest, wildest dreams aren't that impressed with Joey Bart.
Nah, I'm with you there. I'm totally with you there. By the way, good morning to everybody on Twitch.
Oh, yeah.
Our roasters on Twitch, our roasters on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube page and Twitch. YouTube at 95.7 The Game. It's a monster day here at 95.7 The Game. So good morning to everybody out there as we get ramped up for the NBA draft a little later today. By the way, you know who's joining us in studio today? My partner in crime at NBC Sports Bay Area, Darrell Wright. He's going to join us from 9 to 10 o'clock. That'll be a lot of fun.
Gotta spice things up.
Yeah, he will spice things up here in the morning roast and what type of sheets he's working with at home. We're getting to all that.
Those aren't just any bed sheets. Those are virile linen.
Virile linen. We'll ask about the virile linen.
So, I'm looking at this from a Giants fan perspective. And look, yesterday was a rough day. Let's move forward because I don't want to dwell on the negativity. It's one game. Things happen in baseball.
Ain't nothing. Walker Buehler owns the Giants.
Well, and they've played tight games for what feels like 3.5 weeks, right? And you're bound to have one of those ho-hum games. I'm okay with it.
How good is Walker Buehler, though?
I mean, he's spectacular. I mean, the numbers that you referenced regarding DeSclafani against the Dodgers, you could do the same exact thing in the reverse and show how dominant Walker Buehler is specifically against the Giants.
0.79 ERA in 5 starts against the Giants. 0.79 ERA against the Giants in 5 starts. He's given up 3 runs in 34 innings against the Giants. And he is pumping 96. I don't know, what is that, 91? What is that, a splitter, cutter?
It's like some sort of a cutter.
It is filthy. It dives in on lefties. I was just like,
doesn't he just cruise? It doesn't seem like he's ever stressing.
Yeah, just cruising. He's got 1 loss this year. He's cruised throughout the season. He's got 1 loss.
First Dodger win for a pitcher on his birthday since 1995, Hideo Nomo.
That's crazy.
It is kind of crazy.
Damn, what do you think Walker Buehler did afterwards?
Well, he's 27 years old and on top of the world. He's probably sitting there going, how many more years till my arbitration's up so I can hit free agency and the Dodgers can actually break me off some real money?
So that's what scares me. As I'm watching the game yesterday, and we'll get to the NBA draft and also Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, my gosh.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Salt Bay.
So, hey, he's a little ticked off, man. He's on a FU tour. We'll get to Jimmy G a little bit later, as a lot of people said, Trey Lance looked good on his first day. Trey Lance threw deep.
Pillow talk with Bonte at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Trey Lance looked electric. He threw it down the field. He found Kittle and Debo. D4 looks good. Trey Lance, we'll get to that. But like, as I'm watching the game, I'm thinking to myself, Shasky, the Giants can't allow the Dodgers or the Padres to snatch up Max Scherzer.
Why?
Because if you get to the playoffs and you basically go into a series against the Dodgers and you're straight at Buehler, Scherzer, and Kershaw, or Urias, you're done. You're finished. You may get swept. And is that good enough for Giants fans? Are they just happy to be in the playoffs? Like, you get to the playoffs, you want to have a shot to win it. You just don't want to go to the playoffs and say, hey, you know what? We won the NL West. That was cool. Dodgers didn't win it. But if they go on to win the World Series or play in the World Series, Giants fans will be salty. And you need another starter because DeSclafani, this is mental against him and the Dodgers. If you get into a series against the Dodgers, I'm not sure you could start DeSclafani against them. Seriously. So now you got Kevin Gausman, maybe Alex Wood, who played for the Dodgers. They know him.
And he hasn't been the greatest. I mean, he's turned it around, but
I think you got to make the move for Scherzer, man. You need a jolt. You need a boost in the starting rotation. Scherzer can do a lot of good. Eat up innings, save your bullpen. He wants to be on the West Coast, and I'm just blocking him from going to the Padres and the Dodgers. That's a potential move to where if the Dodgers or Padres make it, the Giants may not win it in OS. And now you're staring at a one-game wild card against maybe the Dodgers, against maybe the Padres, and you're going up against one of those studs, and it could be lights out, bye-bye, have a fun offseason.
It absolutely could, and there's no doubt about it.
I'm not trying to be negative this morning. I'm just saying the urgency to make a move after watching the game last night, to me, heightened.
Well, and I'm with you on that. I'm co-sign 100%. There's 50-something games left, right? So we're sitting here right now. You're the Dodgers, the Giants. You're saying to yourself, we have to do everything we can to win the division, right? Like right now, if the Giants fall down and they have to face the San Diego Padres, I can make the exact same argument that you just referenced in a one-game scenario against the Padres.
Right.
The last thing that they want to see is the Padres in a one-game series. Like if you're the Padres, you're sitting here saying, we got to find a way to win the division. We need to bolster ourselves. We need to avoid facing the Dodgers or the Giants in a one-game scenario. So to me, it's all about forget like being panicked about facing the Dodgers. It's what can we do to put ourselves in a position to avoid the wild card. And that should be their priority right now. Win the division, guarantee yourself 5 playoff games or, the opportunity for 5 playoff games, and then kind of go from there. And part of that equation, B, is no doubt about it, you do need a frontline starter. And I don't think you can just go for any old guy who's going to be a 4th or 5th. You need a frontline starter who can get the ball to the bullpen in the 7th or 8th inning.
Yeah, Kyle Gibson's not doing it for me now.
No.
Not right now. Like, what I'd like a Kyle Gibson for the cheap, for sure. But I love him a lot more if you go get Max Scherzer. And it's not doom and gloom with the San Francisco Giants. Don't want to come off like that.
Well, it is for the Posey injury.
It is for the Posey. There's still 2 games up.
Does that change your opinion on trading Joey Bart?
I was just going to say something about that, Shasky. You read my mind here. If he's out for a long time because of this, because of the foul ball coming off his mask, don't you got to see something? Don't you got to don't you got to see him? Like, it maybe changes some things, but would you, because you can't go with Trump and Kurt Casale over the next month. That's an automatic out.
Well, and then I think this is kind of going to give us a great clue on what Farhan thinks of
Joey Bart.
Bart. I mean, if he really likes him, then they're not going to obviously dangle him out there for fear of what's going on with Buster, because he could be out. Those concussion-type injuries, any kind of head injury, you don't know. You just don't know. Remember when Joe Panic got hit in the head?
I do.
And it took, I think, a couple of weeks, and all of a sudden he had these lingering concussion effects for a long, long time.
Yeah,
I know Brandon Belt
Yeah.
had the same thing happen to him, so you just don't know. And if they just dealt him willy-nilly without knowing that Buster Posey was going to be 100%, I think that would tell you so much more about what they felt about Joey Bart than anything.
Talk about timing. This
is why it's tough to be a GM.
Dude, oh, man, that's brutal right there. But good news for the Giants. Brandon Belt will start a rehab assignment later on tonight in Sacramento for the AAA team for the Giants. He'll start a rehab assignment. And Brendan Crawford will probably be back in the lineup. Everything, all systems goes with him. So he should be back in the lineup later today against the Dodgers. So good news on that front.
There's been such a sense of urgency on the Warriors, to make a trade. Oh, a sense of urgency. Steph Curry. Right now, and I know it's draft day, and we're going to be going crazy about trades. For some reason, I have more sense of urgency for the San Francisco Giants to make a trade during the middle of this game that starts at 12:30.
Wow. Why is that?
I just think that they need to know in that dugout that their GM and their owner are all in on them. And they need to have that kind of reinforced to them that, hey, look, we're going to do everything we can to get you the reinforcements so we can win this division because we believe in you. And I think right now is a crucial time as you're waiting for Longoria to come back. You're waiting for Crawford to come back. They're just kind of in a weird spot right now. What are you looking at? You find something on Twitter?
No, yeah, I'm looking to see if Max Scherzer was pitching today in Philly. The Nationals have a doubleheader, so he's not expected to pitch today for the Nationals. And Jesse Doherty, I'm not sure where Jesse Doherty is from here, but I see a tweet. This may seem obvious because of pure timing and Max Scherzer having to work through and approve any deal, but the feeling around the organization is that Scherzer will likely be dealt at some point today. Some point today, he will likely be dealt. Jesse Doherty is a
Washington
Nationals
Post
beat writer for the Washington Post.
Yeah, sorry, Curly was getting in my ear there.
I just saw it there,
just take you behind the scenes here. If you're listening, you're watching on Twitch, YouTube. Curly has the ability to push a button and get in my ear, but it brings down the level of Bonte talking. And Curly likes to get in there with Joe. This guy is from the Washington Post. He's 6'2". He's 195 pounds. It's like, Curly, just tell me where it is, and we'll keep it moving. I can't hear Bonte. Love you, buddy.
Nationals beat writer for the Washington Post, Jesse Doherty.
It's like Bonte's whisper into your ear. He says it very quietly, too. I'm in the studio, and Joe, it's the Washington Post. He doesn't say, he mumbles it.
D Ford looks good.
Hey, Max Scherzer will be dealt later today. D Ford looks good. hey, Giants fans, are you all in on Max Scherzer? 888-957-9570.
Who's got more of a sense of urgency today? Is it the San Francisco Giants or the Golden State Warriors?
Wow. It's a great question. If you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said the Golden State Warriors.
Right.
Now I have to think about it. But I lean Warriors a little bit because of Steph Curry's timeline.
Okay.
Steph Curry hasn't signed the extension yet. We don't know about Klay Thompson. What's going to happen with Wiggins and Wiseman? There is a sense of urgency to get the Warriors back into the top 4 in the Western Conference and play for a title. The Giants are playing with house money. Even though we're right in the thick of it and the trade deadline is tomorrow at 1 o'clock in Major League Baseball, it feels like the Giants are playing with house money. And most fans, I believe, would just be cool with making the playoffs and saying, you know what? They came out of nowhere. They had a good run. It was a fun season. And now baseball is relevant again in San Francisco. So I do think there's more pressure on the Warriors to swing a deal.
Yeah, I also think that, there's a sense of urgency for Jimmy Garoppolo to continue to ball the hell out because he said some things at a podium yesterday. It was like Jimmy Unchained. I mean, it was unbelievable. I'm ready for that. It's almost like an MTV Unplugged album that he was putting out there. Like, is he going like midlife crisis on us, and he's all of a sudden going to be part of a rock band?
I want to get into Jimmy Garoppolo big time because what I took away from the podium is some of the pictures that we saw at training camp with him and Trey Lance walking off the field, and Jimmy like very stiffly pointing at Trey Lance, trying to be cool. I'm like, Jimmy, man, I love you, dog. I love you. But you better have a great camp. You better have a great camp because Trey is coming. So we'll play that sound a little bit later. We'll get into Shanahan and the 49ers as day 2 of training camp. We'll go down later on today. I think we're going to go down on Saturday, Shask. We're going down to Santa Clara. Bringing you down to Santa Clara.
Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody.
I'm looking at Nick Bosa right now. He looks good.
What about D4? Does he look good? D4 looks good. 888-957-9570. Draft day.
What a day.
MLB trade deadline tomorrow at 1 o'clock. The finale of the Giants-Dodgers series before the Astros come to town tomorrow. And, of course, the 49ers. A lot going on here. Darrell Wright will join us live in studio at 9 o'clock. That's all coming up here on The Roast.
It's draft day, baby.
million fully guaranteed contract right before practice, and he looked good. I won't whisper that one. He looked good. Trey Lance, that is. NBA Draft Day. Later on today, we're going to be all over it here.
Trey Lance.
95-70
Oh, is
game.
that this one?
Yeah.
Wait till you see
Wait till you see Trey Lance. Oh.
Ooh, I kind of like how you hit that.
I kind of like that. We got a
do
little
that
sound
again.
drop. Yeah. Wait till you see Trey Lance.
Wait till you see Trey Lance.
Hit the beat, you two. Can we turn it up a little? And we got to hit the beat just right.
Wait till you see Trey Lance. Wait till you see Trey Lance. Oh. Wait till you see Trey Lance.
Hey, I'm kind of
was
feeling
kinda
that.
sick.
I'm kind of feeling that.
I am feeling that
I'm
right
not
there.
gonna lie.
You got to save that. You got to save Langford.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
That is
pretty good
good.
stuff on the fly there. Trey Lance on the practice field.
By
Giants
the
lose
way.
to the Dodgers. We'll get the Gabe's World in just a second. Randomly, during the break, I started reading the story about Kelvin Benjamin getting released by the New York Giants, a former first-round pick of the Carolina Panthers.
The guy who was as big as a house.
So apparently he went to minicamp. They moved him to tight end.
Yeah.
He went to minicamp at 265 pounds. So Judd said, hey, Coach Joe Judd said, look, I need you to lose weight. I need you to be down to about 251 when we start training camp. Well, the man came in at 268 for training camp. He added 3 pounds and said, it's muscle because he's been lifting weights. Saying, what, Kelvin? So they cut him, and he is now released, and he's disappointed because apparently Judge cursed him out for being so overweight going into training camp.
Dude, he was 240 when he was in the combine in 2014.
Wow. But he said, here's a quote from Kelvin Benjamin, I'm basically smaller than I was at wide receiver. I was like, how is that possible? I'm a tight end now. How does that make sense that I was overweight coming into training camp?
So my question, okay, well, I want to get into Gabe's World in a second, but my question is, what does it matter what his weight is if he can play a little? Like, because he wasn't that bad.
He was good.
You're telling me, like, right, okay, I'm just saying, Kelvin Benjamin, for as heavy as he is a better football player than Trent Taylor.
Yes, he is. There's no doubt about it. But I got to say, with Kelvin Benjamin, he got traded to Buffalo, and he had that playoff game against Ramsey. I mean, the man had no, and I get it, it's Jalen Ramsey. He's the top corner in the league. But I'm like, man, Kelvin Benjamin can't get it. It's a separation. Like, he is slow. He can't get off of jabs. He's just running go routes. Very, very slow. So, anyway, Kelvin Benjamin done.
Let's
There's a lot
pivot.
of
I want to
text
get
line,
back into the
YouTube.
NFL.
Yeah,
let's just do Gabe's World real quick because I do want to get back into the NFL because the Trey Lance hype train, and boy, that track you made was liquid hot magma. All right, give me Gabe's World, and then let's talk a little Giants because I have some concerns.
I think we'll go with a little Bohemian Rhapsody, gentlemen.
Good call.
When it comes to Gabe Kapler, anything goes.
First of all, I think pressure is always a good thing. The brightest lights can sometimes bring out the best performance.
Now he's been ejected. Kapler's been ejected by Joe West.
Panda costumes and baby giraffes and all of the fans of San Francisco.
Gabe Kapler's 100% right. Kapler launches one. Fair or foul? It's gone! Gabe Kapler has won it!
It's time for Gabe's World.
All right, so we can look at the score and you can freak out. You can look at DeSclafani against the Dodgers and you can freak out. I refuse to allow myself to lose my mind over those two things.
Right.
But what I will get a little concerned is the Buster Posey injury. And it's look, the reality of head injuries is we just don't know. You could look really good today, and 2, 3, 4, 5 days, a week, 2 weeks from now, something could pop up, and we just don't know. And so I'm a little worried whenever I see a catcher. And again, maybe it's just me reacting to Mike Matheny, and anytime I see any kind of head injury with a catcher, Hector Sanchez had this happen. Eli Whiteside had this happen.
Gosh, Hector Sanchez had happened a lot.
Dude. A lot. He was a horrible defensive catcher. But, yeah, unfortunately, he got hit a lot. So whenever I see a guy take one off the face mask square like that, and with that face mask, and I will get into that in a second, I get worried. Gabe Kapler, what do you want to say about Buster Posey?
Just wanted to give everybody a heads up on Buster. He took a foul ball off the mask in A.J. Pollock's first at bat. Rung his bell pretty good. Felt a little bit of dizziness. We decided to get him out of there. He did see our doctor, was checked for a concussion. He has not been diagnosed with a concussion, but we're going to keep monitoring him and see how he feels tomorrow. He's feeling better after the game, so it's a good signal. Obviously, we just want to see how he comes in tomorrow, but that's what I expect, is just to keep checking in with him. As of now, he's feeling better.
All right, so we don't know exactly where he's at. Sounds like he's feeling better, but we'll see how he reacts today after sleeping. You know, when you have a head injury, sometimes they want you to sleep, sometimes they don't want you to sleep. It's really dependent. We've learned a lot more about concussions, but there's so much we don't know. And I'm not saying that's exactly what he has. I'm just saying anytime you take one square off the face mask like that. Now, let's get into the equipment for the catcher specifically. I have said this time and time again. I played catcher, okay? The equipment is more sophisticated now than it was when I played, but I have long been a believer that the hockey helmet catcher mask is not as blow resistant as the old school helmet with the big cushion on the face mask. I know that the equipment, again, is more sophisticated and better now. I just think that when you have that giant pad, and you'll see the umpires wear those masks. It's got a giant pad. You can put it on your face, giant pad. Plus, you got the half scully helmet backwards. To me, it provides a little more of a blow-resistant cushion. Think of like a football helmet.
So why did they switch to hockey helmets,
so,
first of all?
Some guys see better with it. They like that the lightness of it. They have an easier time throwing it off. It's easier taking it on. Like, everyone's a little weird about the catcher equipment that they have. Some guys have thinner pads. Some guys have thicker pads. Some have the shoulder ones. Some don't.
But you would say these new hockey masks doesn't prevent concussions as well as the old ones do.
I think for a deflection it might work better, but for a straight on shot, and again, there might not be any helmet that's going to save you on a straight on shot. So I'm not here to say that I'm an equipment specialist. I'm just telling you from when I would get down there in the squat, I was resistant to putting on the hockey mask because those straight on blows hurt way more. That's just for me. Now, my vision was a little more, not blurry, but my vision was a little more obstructed when I would put on those masks as opposed to the hockey mask. So maybe I take a little here, I lose a little there, and you're trying to find the thing that works out for you. I'm just not a big believer in the hockey mask, and I don't like those. Well, that's just me.
Well, here's the problem now.
Do I sound crazy?
No, you don't sound crazy. I think that's a great breakdown because I don't know the difference between a hockey mask and the old school mask. I just assume that the hockey mask worked better. It's new age, it's new technology or whatnot, but guys still get concussions, still get hit.
Exactly.
I guess it just depends on where the ball lands, right?
Yeah.
If it tips off,
well, if you take a straight on shot, you're screwed anyway.
Right.
But like, I've heard Matheny talk about this. He's like, dude, I went to the hockey helmet and like I should have stayed with the old school Scully and the cushion one. It would just provide a little more cushion for the blow, as they like to say. But there might not be a helmet that saves you.
Well, Buster Posey leaves the game yesterday in the top of the fourth inning due to dizziness. Took a foul ball off the mask in the first inning. And the timing of it with the Major League Baseball trade deadline tomorrow at 1 o'clock. What do you do with Joey Bart? What if Buster Posey has to miss a week or two, and you have the Astros on deck after the Dodgers? Then you play the Diamondbacks, and by the way, the Brewers are coming. You got to play the Brewers. You know what I'm saying? You know, you don't have a chance to relax here. Now, reinforcements are coming with Brandon Crawford and Brandon Belt. But Posey's your captain. He's your leader, especially behind the dish, because what he does is shut down the opposing team's running game. Now you're going with Kurt Casale. Guys may steal a couple more bases. They may get in a run in a scoring position there. So the timing of the injury here, Shasky, is detrimental to me. If he has to miss an extended period of time, that's going to be a tough blow for this Giants club.
Well, no doubt. I mean, look, you'd be out like $100 million in payroll if it's Posey, Crawford, Longoria, Belt. Like, you show me a team that can survive $100 million in payroll in any sport missing, let alone the Giants.
The Giants, and you don't hey, what do we do with Joey Bart? Is he going to be in a deal? Is he not going to be in a deal?
Question.
If he misses a lot of time, does Joey Bart come up? Or do the Giants go with Chadwick Trump? Do they go with Kurt Casale as a tandem? If you can't see Joey Bart, if Posey's out now, then why are you holding on to him?
This goes back to, and I think there's some similarities because today's draft day. A year ago, essentially, when draft day came around for the Warriors, even though it was in, October or whatever, they were faced with something similar. Oh, my God, Klay Thompson's hurt? Do we panic and pivot and not go with our original draft board? Well, you kind of got to take a deep breath and go, all right, we did all of this work leading up to this. Let's stick with our game plan, and let's go there. I think the same thing.
Sorry to cut you off. Is that the worst timing ever for a team?
It was
draft
horrible.
Day. 2.5 hours for the draft,
horrible.
and you get an alert that Klay Thompson is tore his Achilles down in the open run in L.A. And I can't think of we forgot about James Wiseman. Was like, okay, James Wiseman, but Klay's not going to play.
I have probably got about 5 or 6 times in the last 10 years or so where I've physically been sick to my stomach because of sports, right? You know, like you have family stuff that'll make you sick to your stomach. There's real life things. Sports-wise, Klay Thompson's injury, because he hadn't played, I felt so devastated for him. And honestly, for us here at the station, because we just love the Warriors. I know you were getting ready to do your gig, and I was like physically ill for the person because he clearly loves to play basketball.
It just overshadowed everything about James Wiseman. It put more pressure on James Wiseman to contribute right away. And then, of course, Kelly Oubre Jr. with the trade from Oklahoma City. But it is draft day here at 95.7 The Game. 5 p.m. The Warriors. Will they make the picks? 7-14. How much urgency should the Golden State Warriors have? And I want to hear from Warrior fans because this is a big day for you. It's a big, big day for you. I'll be on NBC a little bit later tonight at 9 p.m. recapping the NBA draft with Darrell Wright and, of course, Chris Willard. But what do Warrior fans want to see happen? Do they want to see the picks of 7-14? Are there any prospects they're in love with? Or do you want to see Bob Myers and Joe Lacob swing a big deal like we want to see Farhan Zaidi do with the San Francisco Giants? Do you want to see the Warriors swing a big deal? I want to hear from Warrior fans. 888-957-9570. That's the hotline. That's the text line. Favorite that bad boy. I see YouTube and Twitch. Don't forget, subscribe. Subscribe to YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube. Right now we have 803 subscribers on YouTube. So we're about 197 short of 1,000. What does YouTube and Twitch want to see the Warriors do today on draft day?
Oh, boy. They're all over the place, Monte. I got to say, by the way, our audience is growing so big on those platforms. It is unbelievable. But I got to say, I think that they really want the Warriors to make a massive splash.
Oh, do you want to see that, Shasky? Give me your thoughts on the other side. I forgot we got a break here, man. The clocks are all over the place. I'm throwing it back to you. I'm like, wait, 6:42. We're just flowing right now. Who cares about a damn clock? This segment was presented by Golden State Lumber, open from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, with some locations open on Saturday. Visit GoldenStateLumber.com for more information.
It's draft day, baby.
3, 2, 1.
Yes. The Warriors have 2 lottery picks, and we're all over it.
It's 7-14. We've been talking about it. This is the start of the roster construction for the NBA season.
Listen to Damon Ratto and Kolsky live from Chase Center.
Are you ready for this?
With Bob Myers and live audio of the picks.
Yay!
Today from 2 to 6 on the home of the Warriors. 95.7 The Game.
Be in my deckhand, rookie. Come on, Rook.
With Kate, Vontae, and Shasky.
We missed you, Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson on his boat. Will he be on the boat today?
I don't know.
Texting Bob Myers saying, you know what? Who are you going to pick? Who are you going to trade for?
I got him pegged as forgetting about the draft being tonight.
That's probably good odds. It's probably a good bet right there.
I do want to get into, I don't know if you guys ever heard that Tupac song, Who Do You Believe In? I put my faith in God, that's who I believe in. It's one of my favorite Tupac songs of all time. But I want to know in a little bit, who do you guys believe in more to make the right deal? Farhan or Bob Myers?
And that's the question. 888-957-9570. Who do you believe in more to make the right deal? It's simple. It's Farhan Zaidi or Bob Myers.
Why do I have a feeling that people are on the internet are going to have more faith in Farhan than Bob Myers?
And Farhan hasn't done really anything yet with the Giants.
Yeah, and that's not ripping him.
It's not ripping him at all. He's made nice moves.
Like, I feel like the body of work of Bob Myers is being completely diluted.
Why? Let me ask you this then, because it does get diluted. Why doesn't Bob Myers get credit or get his deserved props for the championships?
I think it's more a function of the NBA. There are certain people, Pat Riley,
right,
Jerry West, no matter what they do, they walk on water.
Right.
Right? And they've been fantastic executives. I mean, Hall of Fame executives at every stop. But it's not like they've been perfect at every stop. Like, I do think because Bob didn't draft Steph Curry, maybe he doesn't get that benefit of the doubt on Steph. And Steph, for some reason now, is elevated and he gets all the credit.
Right.
Now, I don't think everybody sees it that way, but I do think that Bob Myers has put together an unbelievable system and culture and team and roster over his time as GM. Has he been perfect? Absolutely not. But damn, he's been close to perfect. He's been damn near great. And anybody that wants to go and say, well, they didn't make the playoffs the last 2 years. And I've showed you the data. Show me the team that's missing X amount of millions of dollars of their salary who ends up being a great team. It's very few and far between.
And like with Bob Myers, I see guys like Sam Presti, the GM of the Oklahoma City Thunder, get a lot more credit. Oh, look at the assets he's gated with OKC. Look at all their draft picks. Sam Presti's responsible for basically breaking up Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. Then he loses Ibaka. You know what I'm saying? He basically chose Ibaka and Kendrick Perkins over James Harden, and yet I see Sam Presti on the NBA streets get a lot of credit. Bob doesn't get a lot of credit.
Yeah.
And for some reason, and that's why I think a lot of people will lean towards Farhan Zaidi, because you see Tyro Estrada, you see Lamont Wade Jr., you see Mike Yastrzemski, and people are saying, wow, we'll just wait until Farhan gets some money. Oh, Farhan is. Like, Farhan gets credit for the team winning more so than anybody on the roster, or anybody in as far as managers. Gabe Kapler, nobody gives Gabe Kapler credit for this team
that's absurd.
or making moves. It is absurd. But 888-957-9570. I'll be interested to hear from Bay Area feds. Who do you trust more to make the right move, Bob Myers or Farhan Zaidi? And Bob Myers has a lot of decisions to make today with the 7th and 14th pick in the draft. Who do people even like? Book Knight, Moody from Arkansas. Do you like Mitchell?
Am I alone?
Giddy?
Am I alone in saying that the Bay Area just doesn't, we kind of yawn at college basketball?
Absolutely.
Right? And I'm not pretending that I didn't do my homework. I tried to. I tried to cram for the test today, but me pretending to know if this international superstar or whatever is going to be the right pick at 19 years old for the Golden State Warriors or Jalen Green. Great example. Jalen Green.
Right.
Okay, a couple people have seen some of his games that have been on NBA TV. How can anyone make an accurate assessment of who Jalen Green is right now and what he's going to look like? At least in football, we get a body of work for 2-3 years on someone. Right. You're talking to the guy that also watched nothing but Trey Lance highlights on YouTube. Right. So maybe I'm not the most equipped to be the one calling this out. I find it to be very difficult in basketball outside of the obvious top couple of players. Like Jalen Suggs, we watched him throughout the year. In the tournament, I have a good feel for Jalen Suggs. I really like the player Jalen Suggs. A lot of these other guys, like Scotty Barnes, didn't watch enough of Scotty Barnes to really know. What's he like when they lose?
Right.
What's
Cade Cunningham, Oklahoma State. Like, I saw in the headline yesterday saying Cade Cunningham is he's the most NBA-ready all-around player to come out in the draft in a very long time. And I'm like, what about LeBron James? What about Zion Williamson?
Come on.
What about Tim Duncan? Like Cade Cunningham. But I didn't see enough of Cade Cunningham. To your point about these prospects, and in the Bay Area, we know college sports is second fiddle out here. This isn't the SEC. This isn't the Big Ten. We're in Pac-12 country, but it's a pro market. It's Niners, it's Giants, it's Warriors, it's A's, it's Sharks, and then it's Earthquakes, and then maybe you get to Cal and Stafford.
Okay, just for 1 second on the college thing, and we can bookmark the Warriors-Giants thing. Just 1 second. It does feel like the Pac-12 is done, by the way. And like, just for if USC leaves, which is what the rumors are, and
There's
they
rumors
go
that they're going to.
Yeah, they're going to go to the Big Ten.
Are you kidding me?
Ohio State's trying to link up with them because Ohio State wants to come out to California. This is all about controlling television and controlling recruiting and things like that. Why do you think Notre Dame played against Michigan every single year, went up against USC and Stanford in California every other year? Like, because they want to be able to have that television revenue, number one, and number two, they want to be able to recruit.
The Big Ten.
Well, it feels like we're going to have two super conferences. It feels like the ACC and the SEC are going to merge.
You know what?
So, like, if you're Colorado, like, you're done, dude.
You're done.
You're done.
You know what? I'm for that. Just real quick, you imagine USC playing in Ann Arbor against Michigan on a Saturday afternoon in front of 110,000? Sign me up for that.
Yeah, but
sign me up for that. But I get it. The Pac-12 people, like, it's done. The traditional Pac-12 and Big 12.
They're finished.
It's cooked. But I'm all for mega conferences because then, in a way, it'll remind me of the old AFL days. And I know I wasn't around for that, but AFL versus the NFL. And then you had the merger or whatnot.
Yeah.
Sign me up for that. USC in the Big Ten. Now I'm like, oh, man, just imagine that 4 o'clock dust setting in Ann Arbor. USC with those helmets in the band going against Michigan in the big house. Oh, my gosh. That's crazy. I didn't even hear that.
Well, maybe I'm an insufferable individual and I like to see other people go through misery, but there's something condescending about Cal people, the way they conduct themselves over the last 25 years. No, they have. Whenever you meet a Cal brother, I went to Cal, I went to Berkeley, I'm smarter than you. It's like, you guys might be on the outside looking in. You might be in Division II football. You're going to be San Jose State in a minute. You're lucky you happened to be in the Pac-12 many years ago and just happened to be godfathered in.
Oh, man. 888-957-9570. It is draft day. Who do you trust more to make the right move? Bob Myers of the Golden State Warriors or Farhan Zaidi? And for Bob Myers, a lot of people say, man, he hasn't been drafting well. Well, Jordan Poole looks like a good pick. Kevon Looney has contributed to championship teams and is a nice rotational player who you got at the end of the first round. Patrick McCall looked good his rookie season. Flamed out. All right, whatever.
And he played in the finals,
man. He played in the finals.
As a rookie.
Jordan Bell showed flashes. Now, he didn't have the best focus, apparently, but he's still in the league. He's still circulating around the league. And he was a second-round pick that the Warriors bought. So who else do you have? You have Eric Pascal. All right, maybe he's not a fit with the Golden State Warriors, but he does look like a rotational player in the NBA. So has Bob Myers had the greatest drafts? No. But look at where they've picked.
Exactly.
And look at what he's done with the picks that he has made. Jordan Poole looks like a big-time player. That's going to make a lot of people forget about Jacob Evans, that blown pick at the end of the first round. Has Farhan made bad trades? We haven't seen yet. He hasn't made the big trade yet. We don't know what he's going to do.
Well, we praised him for the Pomerantz, Jalen Davis. Jalen Davis has done nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, like nothing. And we praised him for the Dubon, and Dubon has had moments, but let's be real. Like, that's a nothing trade. Like, he's done a lot of little nothings, so we glorify the Yastrzemski finds. We glorify the Gosmans and the Disco finds, which he deserves tons of credit for. But what you really get judged on are the mega moves, right? The mega moves. And I don't think he's had an opportunity to have a mega move. This is the first one. This is the first one, and the fallout from this, or the domino effect from this, is going to give us a good indication of where Giants fans are with him. Like, let's just say, hypothetically, he doesn't make a move, and they end up falling out of it. I think people are going to be pissed.
Absolutely.
Let's say he makes a move, and it doesn't work out. Well, the prospect losers, they're going to be pissed too.
Yep.
Oh, my God. Zach Wheeler, 14 years from now, became something. I'm going to hold that against Brian Sabian forever.
P. Dizzle 710 is still on the Christian Wood trade train. He wants to see the Warriors trade for Christian Wood. What do you want to see, Warrior fans? What do you want to see the Warriors do here on draft night, 7th and 14th? NBA draft starts at 5 p.m. We have you all covered here at 95.7 The Game. And don't forget to download the Odyssey app. Discover hundreds of new, exclusive music stations available right now for sports and music fans, by sports and music fans. Check out Tailgate Crashers. Crack a cold one and get game day ready with tunes from all your country favorites. The new Odyssey exclusive stations app on the Odyssey app, brought to you by Macy's and Geico. Let's go to Robin real quick in the city. Robin, what's going on? Good morning. You're on the roast.
Good morning, guys, and welcome back, Monte. Where's Kate? Tell me afterwards so I don't use my time up. I just miss you guys in the morning when it's all thrown off. I'm like, I'm glad when winter time comes back because this summer thing is not cool. Vacations. But you guys, let me see. First, I just want to say that the Warrior fans are people, I tend to think methodically, and it's like with Bob Myers, has people forgotten he did get executive of the year? And also when you're winning championships, right, how can you strike up, how can you get good draft picks?
Right.
He got what was in front of him and what he thought was the best, and they couldn't develop them because they were winning. I mean, just think about the logic of everything instead of continuing to trend and wanting to compare them to Popovich and the Spurs. It's unrealistic. I have a question for you, Joe. You stated, and I agree with you, that many of us are not in tune to college ball or something along those lines. And so how can we really access and know what these guys are going to be? Well, apply that same logic to James Wiseman and Trey Lance, because we don't know much about them either. But because of where they're drafted, we have all these expectations of them. But it's the same damn thing. We don't know anything about them. And I think for the most part, that is what annoys me about the hype and the logic behind the narrative, behind players that are drafted in a specific spot. We don't know a damn thing about them, and yet we pick out the upside of them to say they look good to promote them, okay? And it's the same damn thing. You're saying the same damn thing. You're contradicting. People contradict themselves to me, okay?
Right.
We don't know what Wiseman's going to be. We don't know what transfer is going to be. We do know what Wiseman is going to be in terms of how he performed last year, and now he's not, and he's rehabbing. So do we really expect this guy that's going to come in and all of a sudden do something different? Yet we're hyping him. And anyway, about the draft tonight, I think Bob Myers has more room for error than
Farhan
Fahy does. Peace out, you guys.
So, okay, there's a lot to unpack there, and let's just start at the top with Wiseman. So, I mean, yeah, last year we had literally an entire pandemic that shut everything down. All I did was watch different videos and different highlight packages for different prospects because that's all this station talked about for 18 straight months. When Steph Curry went down, we immediately pivoted to draft talk forever.
They won 15 games and they weren't making the playoffs.
Right.
And it was like, you know what? How can they add to this team with Klay Thompson? We thought Klay Thompson was coming back. So who would be the pick? And Mark Spears from ESPN's The Undefeated kind of set that fire off saying, hey, James Wiseman's the guy. Yeah. If you get in the top 3, go get Wiseman.
Well, and so then, to be totally fair here, and I've hyped up Trey Lance and I've hyped up James Wiseman at times, and I've also said, hey, there's things that these guys need to work on. Look what I did with Solomon Thomas, for example. He was taken number 3 overall, didn't like the pick the day of, tried to embrace it, and then watched the guy play a little and was like, he stinks. Yeah. He cannot play in the NFL. Like, he is a fringe NFL player.
Right.
Number 3 overall.
No
and
doubt.
We destroyed John Lynch for that.
Destroyed him.
Absolutely destroyed him.
I still do. I destroyed Shanahan, too, because of the quarterback that was available for them to start their franchise with. And we've gone back and forth on that pick. But
you don't want to get me started, dude.
Yeah, no doubt you don't want to get me started on that. But also the Javon Kinlaw pick. there's still people on the fence about Javon Kinlaw.
Well, I'm glad you said that.
Think about Reuben Foster. I mean, people are still ticked off about that.
I'm glad you said Javon Kinlaw. I hated the Javon Kinlaw pick on draft day. Then I watched the guy play, and as I got more evidence, I was like, you know what? I'm coming around on this pick. Now I'm really high on Kinlaw.
Right.
Okay? I was vocal about it all year.
I remember we did the draft show together.
Exactly. So I can only go off of what I've investigated beforehand, and then what does the guy do for my team, right? I look at somebody like Solomon Thomas, and I could watch him play for my team. I said, I don't see any flashes.
Right.
I watched James Wiseman play, and although the body of work is not comprehensive, although I want way much more from him, I saw flashes that gave me hope. So I already feel so much more encouraged about someone like James Wiseman as opposed to someone like Solomon Thomas. Trey Lance, look, everybody thinks they know quarterbacks. But your boy right here really does know his thing about quarterbacks. And Trey Lance was the guy, again, that I identified because we had a lost season last year. I was hyper-focused on the quarterback position.
No doubt.
And that's the guy I wanted.
You are listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and AC1 San Francisco, and Odyssey Station. Don't forget, Darrell Wright will be in studio from 9 to 10 o'clock today, right here on the Morning Roast to talk draft, talk about his draft day experience, and we'll just catch up with D. Wright. He's been all over the place with his AAU team, no doubt about it. That's brought to you by Timeless Coffee. Download the Odyssey app and listen to the interview. I know quarterbacks too, but Shasky, what's on your, you're saying, wow, what's going on?
So the Morning Roast 957, and we're putting it out on YouTube and on Twitch this morning. Who do you trust more to swing the right move, Bob Myers or Farhan Zaidi? It is 109 votes in. We are like a minute into this, 11 minutes in. 63% for Farhan.
Wow. Over a guy with 3 titles.
This guy hasn't even had a winning season.
Over a guy with 3 titles. By the way, Ian Rappaport reporting that the Niners are working out veteran free agent Dre Kirkpatrick tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Dre Kirkpatrick.
Secondary?
Secondary help.
Yeah,
Former Bengal Cardinal. Looking to land somewhere.
I kind of like him.
He worked out for the Patriots a few months back as well, so the Niners looking for secondary depth. And that leads to me, you know what? If you're going to work out Dre Kirkpatrick, do you want to swing a deal for Xavier Howard of the Miami Dolphins? Do you want to swing a deal for Xavier Howard of the Miami Dolphins? And who may you part ways with? Well, Miami they may need quarterback help. How good does Trey Lance look? How good does he look?
Look at you. Like, what are you doing right now?
How good does he look?
You look like a toddler who's running around naked right now, looking back at his parents I just made a big mess in the bathroom.
Hey, you know what? Look, you said something that I think is very, very true. Everybody thinks they know quarterbacks.
We do.
I think I'm the number one quarterback whisperer
of all time
at this station. I do. I really do. And I'm wrong on quarterbacks all the time.
I'm wrong all the time.
Dude, I've been wrong on quarterbacks a lot. I thought Josh Rosen would be the truth. I thought Matt Leinart was going to be the truth and destined to the Hall of Fame. Didn't work out like that. Didn't let me Deshaun Watson. Didn't know about Mahomes. I mean, come on, man.
Did you do your due diligence on Deshaun Watson's off-the-field stuff?
Oh, boy. How's that going to work out? But Trey Lance, after watching him, because we got into it in November about Trey Lance, because the Niners season was going nowhere, just like the Warriors season a couple years ago, where we all of a sudden start looking at LaMelo Ball. We start looking at Anthony Edwards. We start looking at James Wiseman. So I'm thinking to myself, you know what? We need to get a head start on Zach Wilson. We need to get a head start on Trey Lance and Justin Fields. And Trey, to me, just looks like he has that it factor. It's about that it factor.
How did you quantify that?
How did I quantify that? It's the look, it's the swag, it's the ability to make big plays in adverse situations. I saw Trey Lance do a lot of that at North Dakota State. Now, people are going to say, well, it's North Dakota State. You played against nobody. Carson Wentz went to the same school, and when Carson Wentz was at his best, he looked like a damn good NFL quarterback.
He was almost the MVP of the NFL.
And I think Carson Wentz is going to be pretty damn good for Indianapolis back with his quarterback coach, Frank Wright. He was beat up in Philadelphia, and the not competing with Jalen Hurts part, that bothers me a little bit, but hey, to each his own. Trey Lance looks the part. And everybody yesterday that was down there at camp, fans, Robin said Bruno, DM me on IG.
What'd he say?
Trey Lance, dog. He looks special.
Which one of the videos of him tying his shoes was he looking at?
Well, you know what's funny? Our Instagram page, Kirsten was down there in Santa Clara doing videos for us on 95.7 The Game. Trey Lance had a simple 5-step drop back, threw a 5-yard pass to a quarterback coach, and that baby had over 5,000 views in an hour.
How many comments?
In an hour. I didn't read the comment. I don't go down a comment rabbit hole. I know you just can't do that. I don't have time for that. 5,000 views in just an hour of Trey Lance just dropping back. So, Robin, he looks the part. He looks the part. So, as I try to put a bow on this, as I'm going all over the place.
No, I love it. Because today is a wild day in the Bay.
It is a wild day in the Bay. I feel like it's going to be a great day in the Bay. There's Xavier Howard out there. If you're going to work out Drake Kirkpatrick, are you calling Brian Flores down in Miami saying, what's up with Mr. Howard?
You don't even have any draft picks.
You know what? Who cares? Who cares? It could be like the Rams. You got picks. You'll make something happen. You think they're going to get a first-round pick for Howard?
Well, what I would do is I would monitor the Deshaun Watson situation and say, all right, can we trade you Jimmy Garoppolo and then turn around and pivot and flip that pick back to Miami?
Are we on the Jimmy trade right now?
Well, I'm monitoring it. That doesn't mean I'm doing it. Come on, doggy.
We have the Jimmy G sound yet. Here's what Jimmy G said yesterday. He was feisty on the podium after day 1 of training camp. I want to play this before the break. Jimmy Garoppolo was asked about Mohamed Sanu. Mohamed Sanu. He's still talking about Mohamed Sanu. He's back on the Niners. Here's what Jimmy had to say about Sanu and his ankle.
Comparing maybe to where he was physically then to what you see out there now, how much further along?
Mohamed?
Yeah, Mohamed.
He's looking good, man. I mean, excuse the language, but he really is. He came in ready. It's been a lot of fun this first day, and I'm looking forward to the rest of camp with him.
All right, Jimmy G, I'm battling.
It was pretty bad. Surgery was debated, but whenever I could avoid that, I'm going to do that. So, it's we all go through it. All these guys, I mean, we're all battling injuries and like that. It's part of the game, but the ankle's been feeling great. Honestly, it really has. So I'm happy about that.
So he's talking about battling the ankle injury, and he's dropping F-bombs and S-bombs, and Jimmy just. This is a different Jimmy.
Who's asking about Mohamed Sanu? Why are we wasting bullets at a press conference on Mohamed Sanu?
So Mohamed Sanu made a couple catches yesterday in shorts and a jersey.
You know what Mohamed Sanu's doing? Basically, the 49ers are paying him to babysit Jimmy Garoppolo. That's what I've noted. Or not just Jimmy, but Trey Lance, excuse me. They are paying him to babysit Trey Lance because I'm seeing him hanging out with Trey Lance.
Is he really?
Oh, yeah, all kinds of IG videos. My guy, SF Niners on IG. I'm telling you, I'm seeing it. Mohamed Sanu at 31 years old last year, okay? He started 4 games between 2 teams, from Detroit and the Niners. The guy had 187 yards last year at 31 years old. He looks really good. Again, let's ask Jimmy about some pertinent stuff because that's not pertinent. Can we stop wasting bullets on Mohamed Sanu?
Well, here's what Jimmy had to say about helping out Trey Lance.
I think that stuff just comes naturally. It's not like I would ever hold something away from him and, I don't want to tell him this type of thing. It's just when you let it happen organically, and that's what kind of we've done. I think that's when it's at its most natural, and you can really build a normal relationship between two people. And so, yeah, I don't want to draw a line anywhere or anything like that. But anything he needs, I'm willing to help him. I think Nate and Josh are the same way. We got good room right now in the QBs, and it's fun to be around.
Nate Sudfeld.
Thanasis Antetokounmpo has more impact on the Bucks winning than Mohamed Sanu will have on the 49ers. I mean, it's the same exact employment situation, right? Just to make somebody happy.
I didn't know Mohamed Sanu would trigger you, man.
Yeah, just because when we ask you bullets about wasting, we get like 5 questions with Jimmy. Let's waste a bullet on Mohamed Sanu. Like, what are you doing?
Minis, yes.
Don't shoot till you see the whites of their eyes, Cam Inman.
Do you like this new Jimmy Garoppolo? 888-957-9570.
Jimmy
Your
Unleashed.
thoughts on the other side, and that's what's coming up on the game. Brought to you by MB Jesse Painting.
It's draft day, baby.
3, 2, 1.
Yes. The Warriors have 2 lottery picks, and we're all over it.
It's 7-14. We've been talking about it. This is
And everybody out there on draft day listening to the morning roast. NBA draft later on tonight at 5 p.m. That was the NFL draft when the Niners selected Trey Lance would set Joe Shasky III off. Yes, I went full government name there. Shout out to Twitch. Shout out to YouTube. All our roasters on Twitch and YouTube streaming the show live. Also, the Odyssey app. Go ahead and do that as this segment is presented by Golden State Lumber. Open from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday with some locations open on Saturday. Visit GoldenStateLumber.com for more information. Darrell Wright live in studio at 9 o'clock.
I mean, tons of basketball injected right into your veins. We're going to have Ryan McDonough on at 8:15, former GM. We've got some questions regarding the Warriors. And believe me, we're going to give you all the Warrior content you're looking for. Tough Giants game last night. But right now, B, I want to get into the NFL and this Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance thing. Just for a minute, I got to go back to it because there's been lots of videos. You talk about 5,000 views on him just literally dropping back. I saw a Jalen Hurd video that I want to get to in a second.
Oh, gosh.
But let's just set the tone for this particular segment.
Right.
Just give me the beat. All right, Steven? Wait till he's...
Oh, there it is.
All right.
There it is.
All right, give me the beat. We're going to do this live. We're not going to record. We're going to do this live.
Let's go.
All right, Steven, get in there.
Wait till you see Trey Lance. Wait till you see Trey Lance. Wait till you see Trey Lance.
Did you see Jalen Hurd?
Hey, how you doing, Niner fans? Let me whisper in your ear. Tell you something that you might like to hear. Trey Lance got a video, 5,000 views. Jimmy G's out there swearing on the news. I don't know.
Oh my God! I was feeling that, Steven.
I was feeling that. Round of applause.
All right. You know what else I was feeling? I was feeling all the training camp videos yesterday. I was doing my best Suge Knight. I was all up in the videos. I was watching Jimmy. I was watching Jalen Hurd. Literally just Jalen Hurd moving. Literally just walking a little. I was like, ooh, he's back.
Right.
And then I seen, obviously...
D Ford.
No, Nick Bosa. And he had the left knee brace, and I was like, it was like a little rubber kind of a knee brace thing, and I was saying to myself, damn, Nick Bosa looks chiseled out of granite. I saw an interception from Fred Warner near the sidelines, and then I saw 6 different outlets slow it down. I saw somebody add music to it. B, I'm going to be real with you. Niner content made me go, shall we?
So we get down there Saturday. The DJ is one of Shanahan's best buddies. I talked to him when they first got on board. I'm sitting there watching training camp just a few years ago, and they're just playing beat after beat after beat. Yeah. I'm like, damn, who is this DJ? And I walked over, I said, dude, are you allowed to play this stuff? And he's like, Shanahan always tells me, we need juice. Give me the juice. Don't play none of that BS. I need juice. So they're just blowing out the speakers down there in Santa Clara. Now, I did see a video of D Ford, right? D Ford on the sled. You know how Chris Koserik's there with the sled, and they're giving guys points from getting off the ball first. Well, D Ford didn't even move on one. And I'm like, D Ford, what are you doing? And then he goes ahead and hits the sled, and you just see a couple comments right off the bat. You know how on Instagram you can see the first couple comments? They're like, we don't need D Ford on the sled. Save him for week 1. Keep him off the field.
What?
Keep him off the field. It's like the guy's got to train a little bit, but from what I saw him getting off the ball,
hey, I'm telling you right now, YouTube, Twitch, Chilton Autobody text line, whatever the hell it's called these days, everyone's saying that Steven was spitting liquid hot magma. That was probably more impressive than some of the Trey Lance throws yesterday. So Jimmy Garoppolo at the podium, salty Jimmy.
So
give me back, because I was hyper focused on the Mohamed Sanu part. So let's replay it and let's just. I want to ask you about Jimmy.
Well, okay, so here's a couple cuts with Jimmy swearing. Here's the first one on Mohamed Sanu. Somebody asked Jimmy Garoppolo on how Mohamed Sanu looked. Not Brandon Ayuk, not Deebo Samuel, not Jalen Hurd, not George Kittle, but they asked Jimmy Garoppolo on the practice that Mohamed Sanu had on the first day of training camp.
Comparing maybe to where he was physically then to what you see out there now, how much further along?
Mohamed?
Yeah, Mohamed.
He's looking good, man. I mean, excuse the language, but he really is. He came in ready. It's been a lot of fun this first day. I'm looking forward to the rest of camp with him.
All right. Now, here's what Jimmy Garoppolo had to say about battling his ankle injury from a season ago.
It was pretty bad. Surgery was debated, but whenever I could avoid that, I'm going to do that. So, it's we all go through it. All these guys, I mean, we're all battling injuries and like that. It's part of the game, but the ankle's been feeling great. Honestly, it really has, so I'm happy about that.
Also, Jimmy, last one here on whether or not he's motivated by the drafting of Trey Lance out of North Dakota State.
I've been around for a little while. I sound old saying that, but if you don't push yourself, then you got no chance in this game. So, I mean, if you rely on outside forces to motivate you, that's going to be tough. But at the end of the day, I'm as motivated as it gets.
So what is he like? He's in like dad mode? You know, like when a lot of guys like yourself, they become dads, they just go like, screw it. I don't care how I look anymore. I don't care about anything. I'm just going to let it all hang out. Is that what he's at now? He's kind of at the screw it stage in his career?
Might as well, after Shanahan has flirted with every single quarterback in the league. I mean, if you're not screw it after Brady and Kirk Cousins, seeing them draft the quarterback number 3 overall, you better be in FU mode right now. And I kind of like this Jimmy. A lot of people on the text line on Twitch and YouTube are saying, I like this new Jimmy. Yeah,
but what if this new Jimmy goes out there and doesn't perform?
Well,
like, you could be as candid and as refreshing at a podium as possible. You also have to deliver.
I'm not going to lie. I did read a report yesterday.
Yeah?
One of Jimmy's throws over the middle to Brandon Ayuk. He tried to force it in, and it was nearly picked by Dre Greenlaw. And I just got a chuckle saying, oh, thank God it wasn't picked, because the minute he throws a pick in practice, it's going to be amplified. Think about, we're only in day 2 of training camp. And think about what we've done over the last 3 days when it comes to the 49ers. It's all Jimmy. It's all Trey. This new look Jimmy, though, if he's going to drop F-bombs and S-bombs at the podium, sign me up. I need more of this.
Well, yeah, but he's got to play well. I mean, that's the most important thing, because he could talk a big game and do all this and that.
If he doesn't play well, there's going to be no more podium Jimmy. They're going to be going to Trey Lance. He won't be at the podium.
That's a good point, but they'll find him. Like, you know what I mean? Someone will be there to ask him a Mohamed Sanu question at some point. I mean, it's just
comparing maybe to where he was physically then to what you see out there now. How much further along?
Mohamed?
Yeah, Mohamed.
Even he was surprised.
He's looking good, man.
Who asked that question?
I mean, excuse the language, but he really is. He came in ready. It's been a lot of fun this first day, and I'm looking forward to the rest of camp with him.
Who asked that question?
Hold on.
Comparing maybe to where he was physically then to what you see out there now. How much further along?
Mohamed?
Yeah, Mohamed.
That sounded like, I don't want to put anybody on blast, man. That sounded like your boy from ESPN. Who's the guy?
Wagner?
Yeah.
Nick Wagner?
It sounded like him. That's not Eric Branch.
Well, here's the thing. You got to understand. Mohamed Sanu, if you're following the 49ers on Instagram or on Snapchat. No, I'm being real. Trey Lance has been buddy-buddy with Mohamed Sanu for a couple of weeks now, right? I think that Shanahan has used him as a trusted agent. The way, again, I think there's a lot of similarities to, like, Goran Dragic's brother got picked up by the Phoenix Suns because they wanted to make Goran feel comfortable, right? Well, in a different way, they want to make Trey feel comfortable, but they want him to learn the subtleties of the offense. Well, Mohamed has a comprehension of Shanahan's offense to a certain level, and obviously has worked with various quarterbacks. And if you're going to pay Mohamed Sanu or any kind of guy to be a fringe NFLer, might as well have someone who's seasoned like he is, kind of take the young man under his wing. So I understand that, but like this notion that Mohamed is going to like make plays for the team itself is ridiculous. But in terms of like tutoring Trey Lance, if that's what his role is, you can't pay him enough then.
Wow. So they're saying it was Tim Kawakami asking about Mohamed Sanu, TK of The Athletic. Look, even Jimmy Garoppolo was surprised about Mohamed Sanu. He goes, who, Mohamed? Mohamed? Who? Wait, what? Mohamed Sanu? I don't even know if I threw him a pass today. How many snaps did he get? How many reps did he get in practice today? Mohamed Sanu getting love on day 1 at training camp, as they were not in pads. They won't be in pads until day 6, I believe, of training camp. They were in shorts and a shirt, and Mohamed Sanu stole the show.
Okay, if I were to write down a list of like 75 things you would ask Jimmy Garoppolo, would Mohamed even be on your list?
Mohamed would not be on the list.
Yeah, so
Mohamed would not be.
It's just funny.
I would ask him about the Jays.
Yeah, the new Travis Matthew.
All that stuff. You know, I'd even ask about his dating life. I'm nosy like that. What's going on in his private life, Jimmy? What's going on with that?
On this ankle, we've had some ankle injuries over the years here in the Bay Area. Obviously, Steph, I think, would be at the top.
Number one. Number one.
Right? This ankle injury, it feels like when my dad would tell me that he would walk 17 miles in the snow growing up in San Francisco, walking from Glen Park to St. Mary's Park. Like, that's what this reminds me of. Like, one day it's like, you know what? The bear attacked him on the way to the facility and the ankle was just dangling by a thread and it had to be repaired. Dude, he hurt his ankle in a football game. Is it really like...
But But the ankle injury was a little more serious than we all let on. And, hey, it's just an ankle sprain in week 2. It didn't look like an ankle sprain when Quentin Williams of the New York Jets, a D tackle, fell on his ankle. It looked gruesome. And I'm like, he finished that first half. He was limping around. Obviously, he missed a couple games, tried to come back. And then they said, look, the guy needs surgery. He didn't want to go through surgery. But when Trent Williams says, look, it was an inch away from just completely breaking, it was a serious ankle injury. Quarterbacks obviously need their ankles, right? They got to plant, they got to throw, they got to. I mean, come on.
But, had you listened to me a couple of off seasons ago, we could have had a guy who could have won you a Super Bowl with a torn MCL.
Yeah, possibly.
I'm just teasing.
No, you're not teasing. I mean, it's true.
I know I'm jabbing the knife.
Who blew that, though?
Who?
Was it the Niners that didn't want Tom Brady?
No, look,
I didn't want Tom Brady. Tom Brady looked bad.
It would have cost him a lot to move off of Jimmy at the time. Look, that's water under the bridge at this point. Jimmy and Trey and Jimmy, everything going on. I just find it interesting on the day that Aaron Rodgers hops to the podium. You heard nothing in the Bay Area about Aaron Rodgers, and we were so focused on Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, and that is going to be the story of this training camp. Yes, the D Ford and Nick Bosa returning to health. No question those things are very important. Deebo Samuel looking spry, catching balls over the middle, saying that he's added the deep route to his element, which to me thinks that he's a little more ready for Trey than Jimmy.
Because they said Trey Lance looks good on day number 1 of training camp.
So who was texting you that?
I can't.
No, you got to look at the beat. Look,
I can't give up sources, Shasky.
Yeah, but you got a lot of friends at that facility. You got a lot of people in the media.
I can't give up sources.
Okay, but what were they saying?
They were saying, like, look, we believe Jimmy probably will start week number 1. However, Jimmy better bring it in training camp. Jimmy better bring it every single day, because this guy on day number 1 in training camp,
day 1,
in Trey Lance, day 1, they said, man, this guy was letting George Kittle high point footballs, throwing jump balls. He threw a deep pass to freaking Devo, threw a deep ball to Ayuk. They said Trey was not conservative yesterday in practice.
Do you believe?
I do believe it. I do. These sources ain't never been wrong. They've never lied to me.
They're incredible, huh?
They've never lied to me. Kirsten, we're showing Kirsten a lot of love here on the Morning Roast. She, of course, on the digital side of things, was up at the Tahoe tournament. What was it? The celebrity tournament up there.
Yeah, the ACC Edgewood.
ACC, there you go. She talked to Steve Young. And Steve Young, she asked Steve Young, you think Trey's going to start week 1? And he hesitated. He goes, oh, boy, like...
Oh, boy, that's a tough question,
It's a
Tim
tough
Roy.
question, Tim Roy. Like, he hesitated. And from what I heard was that Steve Young is leading Trey. He's leading Trey, but let's hear from Shanahan on Trey Lance.
He had pretty good command of that watching him in college. I mean, he played the position like he's been doing it for a while, even though he didn't a ton in college. But that's one of the things we were impressed with him a lot. I just think he didn't get a ton of reps in OTAs because it wasn't as much as we usually do. But we just got to give that guy the time and let him keep working and work his way through some stuff. And I think we're going to all be pretty excited.
So Madden's coming out in a couple of weeks, right? And every player has a confidence level rating, right? Someone like, let's just say Tom Brady, confidence just through the roof, 99.
At 100.
Yeah, no, there's no 100. There's no 100.
99.
99. 99 is as high as you can go, right? What do you think Shanahan's confidence level was last year at this time?
In Jimmy Garoppolo?
Well, just in himself, in his team, in his organization, in his philosophies. Because he's always, I'm not here to say that he wasn't confident before, but what do you think his confidence level was around this time last year? Just in general.
He's a confident dude coming off a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
A Super Bowl loss.
Yeah.
His confidence is probably at a 90.
Okay. It's got to be a 99 right now because he is strutting with the Trey Lance thing. Like, not only is this my dude, he's looking good. You all know it. I mean, he's feeling himself.
Well, it's at a 98. It's at a 98. It's not a 99. It's a 98 because don't forget, right before training camp, he's down in San Diego with Joe Staley, and he's throwing footballs in the ovens. He's throwing footballs in the ovens on the first try. So is he strutting? Is he feeling himself? Is he confident? Absolutely. Shanahan is arrogant. He's also said something about Lance being focused. I can't see the whole caption here, but it's not on the paper. But here's another Lance quote from Kyle Shanahan. Let's figure it out and let's guess what it is.
Just watching it live, he does some good things, and he got a lot of rookie things too. I don't think he's focused right now in his first day of practice about getting a starting job. He needs to be focused on just doing as good as he can. He didn't get all the reps in camp, and today was probably the most he's gotten, and we'll just keep stacking them up. And sure, a couple days he'll take a couple steps back, but as long as he's taking more steps forward, we'll be all right.
What do you take for that? What do you take for that? Are you believing Shanahan right now?
I feel like I'm in high school. You know, the Jimmy train is going 40 miles an hour, headed south, and the Trey Lance train is going 85 miles an hour. We are throwing coal in this thing, and it is going 100 miles an hour north. And
it's like windows to the whole camp, right? Come on, Trey.
I mean, we know where this ends up, right?
Where does it end up?
I mean, day one, I'm convinced now. Like yesterday, I was like, we'll have some fun. Trey's going to start week one. I'm convinced Trey's starting week one. Like this is headed in one direction and one direction only.
Oh, man. Jimmy's getting questions about Mohamed Sanu.
Why are you laughing so much?
Because, look, I think Shanahan is doing everything in his power. I'm going to repeat this every single day we talk about the situation. He's doing everything in his power to get Trey up to speed. He wants to get Trey rolling quickly, and that's been the new trend in the NFL, folks. Look at it. Look across the league. Justin Herbert, okay, Tyrod Taylor, I get what happened there right before the game, but they never look back.
No.
They never look back. Justin Herbert, he was there. Boom. You're in that lineup. Even Derek Carr with the Raiders was starting by the end of his rookie season.
Who did they have? Matt Schaub?
Matt Schaub, I believe. Matt Schaub.
He threw that pick six and never looked back.
It was Matt Schaub, Matt Flynn, Matty McGloin, Matty Mayhem McGloin, as I call him. So many Matts. And then
Did
Derek
Matt
came along.
Nahegan, the program director, get a couple of snaps under center?
Hell nah. Can't see over the offensive line.
I'm out.
He couldn't even breathe yesterday in our meeting, let alone take a snap under center.
He is on, dude. He had us on the whiteboard. He had the papers out. He had the magic marker out. Matt Nahegan is, dude, you talk about being ready for camp and being ready for football. He's going 100 miles an hour on the train.
Yeah.
All right. Trey Lance is at 85. So Garoppolo's at 40. Matt Nahegan's at 100. And we will get back to the NBA. It's a big day. NBA draft day, of course. We got you covered all day long here at 95.7 The Game. The Warriors picking number 7 and 14. Draft begins at 5 p.m. I'm guessing the Warriors make their pick around 6 o'clock, hopefully. 6:15. So
Covey will be on tonight. I'll be listening to him.
No
I'll
doubt.
be obviously watching you on mute because I don't really want to hear your takes.
I know.
And then I'm going to be listening to Covey on the Odyssey app simultaneously because I'm a good company man. Also, I'm going to be monitoring the MLB trade deadline that's going on right now with the Giants. So anything that breaks and pops off, we got you covered here at 95.7 The Game. I'm hoping it happens during our show so we got more stuff to talk about. And I want to get inside the eyes of a GM. Ryan McDonough is going to join us in like 30 minutes. You want to hear from this guy. This guy is sharp as heck. He's going to tell us what Bob Myers is doing on a day like today. How do you talk to your superstars? How do you weigh the future, the current, etc.? And now let's get back into the Niners because there's just not enough Niner content.
So 888-957-9570. My partner in crime believes Trey Lance is starting week.
Do I sound crazy?
No, you don't. I think it's trending that way. I've told you. He's doing everything in his power to start Trey Lance week number 1. And if Trey Lance lights up the Chiefs in preseason game number 1, and then he gets reps in preseason game number 2, the Chargers, and they got the scrimmage. They're going to be down there in L.A. with the scrimmage.
The Niners have played the Chargers 35, no joke, 35 straight years in the preseason.
They always
it's kind of cool.
But now they're going to scrimmage. So they're going to scrimmage. If Trey Lance looks good in that game, then he gets that Raider game week 3. I'm telling you, don't be surprised. Expect the unexpected. And there's players out there like the Houston Texans situation. They may need a quarterback. The Miami Dolphins, are they all in on Tua Tagovailoa? Do they need a veteran quarterback down there? I don't know who they replace Fitzpatrick with down in Miami, South Beach, Miami. Could you swing a deal for Xavier Howard and Jimmy Garoppolo? I don't know. It seems a little far-fetched. But I'm on that train. I think we're going to see Trey Lance sooner rather than later.
If you had a fantasy draft right now, okay, and then I'm being real here, are you taking Trey Lance in like the 10th, 11th round? and just like today, because like some people are having drafts in the next couple of weeks, like things can change before the first game.
I might
take him and just stash him.
I'm selecting Trey Lance over Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, that's obvious.
I mean, seriously, but he may start on the bench, and I will still drive Trey Lance over Jimmy Garoppolo.
A little draft and stash.
Man.
And then you got all the other guys on the offense. Obviously, Kittle looking good. Apparently, Ayuk looks silky as ever. They said that he looks absolutely polished. It's good to hear that Deebo Samuel is in good shape and he's running routes.
Apparently, we're sounding stupid here first day of training camp, and we're all bloviating over Trey Lance.
What's that?
I said we sound stupid according to 669.
Why?
Because we're bloviating over the first day of training camp.
I just watched a Najee Harris video in the break where he ran over 5 Steelers on that elite defense.
Field start clapping.
It was incredible. I mean, I was like, oh my God, I'm drafting Najee Harris in like the 4th round this year in fantasy because he is going to save Big Ben's career. Of course, training camp matters. What are you talking about? This is the biggest season in the Niners like history.
510, Jimmy G is going to be the breakout player of the year. Why the hell would you start a rookie? With that said, let's go down to San Jose and talk to Matt about it. Matt, what's going on? You're on the Morning Roast here on 95.7 The Game. What do you think about Trey Lance? What's your question about Trey Lance?
Roasters is good to hear from you guys, man. I'm big fans of all y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm very curious to know whether or not it's going to be, Jimmy G's not playing well, so let's put Trey Lance in, or Jimmy G is hurt for the 3rd time, let's put Trey Lance in.
So does that change it for you then?
Say again?
That would change it then for you, that if Jimmy Garoppolo was hurt, you'd just be done with Jimmy, or you want Trey Lance to just simply outperform him?
Look, I'm probably the biggest Jimmy Garoppolo fan in the Niners fan base. I've been roasted for this ever since they got him. But I really want to see Garoppolo do well, play well, and give Lance as much time as he needs to be seasoned and all that jazz. What I want is for them to have the good problem of Jimmy Garoppolo has played so well that at the end of the season, you're like, well, I don't want to take him out because we're winning. You know, if they go 13-4 or something crazy like that, what do you do in the playoffs? So, let's go to Trey Lance, and if he, lays an egg in the first playoff game, then what do you do? So what happens if Jimmy Garoppolo leads this team back to the Super Bowl and they actually win the game?
Wow. You got to think that they trade him and they say, you know what, thanks, Jimmy, for everything.
They do exactly what Baltimore did with Trent Dilfer. Yeah, come on. I mean,
that would be
who
something
are we kidding
else.
ourselves?
Because you did. Remember, Jed York said, hey, look, we're prepared. The owner of the 49ers, he said, we're prepared to sit Trey Lance for 2 straight seasons.
Yeah, that's like my wife saying, I'm prepared to go camping with you, Joe, for vacation, when in reality she knows she wants to stay in a Marriott.
Well, he said it. The owner said it. 2 years. And if Jimmy G did win a Super Bowl, that'd be hard to move off of Jimmy. What would you do to the locker room if that happened in that scenario? Man.
Here's the reality. I agree with this premise that if Jimmy Garoppolo has a great year, it probably is most beneficial to the organization and to Jimmy himself. Individually, can Trey Lance develop on the side? Yeah, he could. I'm a believer you got to play. Like, very few guys, do the Patrick Mahomes and just are unbelievable from day one after sitting for a while. I like to see people kind of get better the way Josh Allen got better, the way you see Herbert, Baker Mayfield, a lot of these younger players. Like, I would prefer that route if I was running the 49ers right now, because I think they have a great insulation around him. I think he can be very insulated, in terms of not having to expose him to dropping back and throwing the ball 35 times a game. But if you wanted to squeeze the most out of moving off of Jimmy, then yeah, you'll want to get a great year out of Jimmy Garoppolo. I actually think, even though there'll be way more suitors next year and whatnot, I think that the time to strike might be now with trading Jimmy Garoppolo. And Xavier Howard, if he's out there and he can be had, and you have to move Jimmy to another team and use that draft capital to go get Xavier Howard, I'm way more open into that than I would be of just riding the year out with Jimmy Garoppolo right now, because I think secondary is a major issue for this team.
Last one here on Jimmy Garoppolo. Trent Williams, big left tackle.
Yeah.
They traded for last year, gave him a big contract this offseason. Here's what Trent Williams had to say about Jimmy G before we get back into the NBA draft.
What's crazy, man, is that Jimmy has always been a fierce competitor. When I watched him play with his, a lot of people didn't know me, his ankle was, damn near an inch away from me, less than an inch away from just snapping. So, just watching him even fight through and try to play a guy who's accomplished so much, like you said, got a lot of money, went to the Super Bowl. Like he didn't have to press forward like he tried to and tried to play hurt. And the guys respect that. So I'm not gonna just say, hey, this is Jimmy last year on the team or whatever. I mean, Jimmy handled it. He's handled this situation probably best as I can imagine anybody handling it. I mean, I can't speak for Jimmy on how he felt or whatever. We can only assume, but I don't think it's a big a deal that everybody's making it. I think Cal's been pretty open by saying Jimmy's a quarterback, and I think for Jimmy, if you take your team to the Super Bowl or take your team on a deep playoff run, I mean, who could criticize that?
Trent Williams on Jimmy Garoppolo.
Day one, and everybody's got a comment on it. Do you think they'll get fatigued at some point? I mean, this is day one.
Yes, they will get fatigued. Shanahan will get fatigued. Lynch will get fatigued. Jimmy G will get fatigued. But the question will loom every single day until Trey Lance actually starts a game for the 49ers. This is going did we not brace ourselves for this? I'm seeing people all over the internet say, man, it's only day one. We keep talking about Trey Lance and Jimmy G. The moment they swung big with the Miami Dolphins and trade for the number 3 overall pick, we knew this was coming. And every practice will be scouted, will be ridiculed, will peel it like a freaking onion. Every practice with Jimmy G and Trey Lance, the cameras will be on them. We'll look at every single throw. We'll look at every single drop back, every single snap. Did we not know that this was coming? It's only day 2. It's just beginning, folks. Buckle up and get ready because the summer of Trey and Jimmy is here. It's upon us, all right? So, I don't know, people are getting tired of it already. It's just starting.
I didn't see anything from Trey Lance talking yesterday. Did you?
Nah, they kept him away.
Oh, wait till he gets up there. How many Mohamed Sanu questions is Trey going to get?
0. Zilch. By the way, Bob Myers.
Yeah.
President of Basketball Operations and GM of the Golden State Warriors. He's going to join Damon Radulinkowski live at Chase Center today at 2:30 on 95.7 The Game. You don't want to miss that because Bob Myers, there's a lot of pressure on him to make the right picks or swing the right deal. So 888-957-9570. Warrior fans, Giant fans, Bay Area sports fans, we got a question for you. Who do you trust more to make the right move? Bob Myers or Farhan Zaidi?
Wow. I mean, you got the baseball trade deadline. Giants, #1 team in baseball, and they need reinforcements bad, especially after seeing what happened last night against Walker Buehler. You do not want the Dodgers to get another starting pitcher like Max Scherzer because it could be lights out and you're done. We don't know what's going on with Buster Posey. Does that affect how you view Joey Bart because you don't know where Buster Posey's at? What's interesting, as we were talking about Trey Lance, I feel like the day Trey Lance was drafted, John Lynch's approval rate was the highest it's ever been.
Through the roof.
Even higher than going to the Super Bowl, right?
Through the roof.
Right?
Yep.
So let's just say, what do you think, 95% approval rate?
Oh, he can't do anything wrong right now.
Okay. So is there any scenario where Bob Myers can have the approval rating and the overall glee that for the Warrior fans that John Lynch got for Niner fans?
No idea. And that's another question I have for our audience. What can Bob Myers do to please you? What can he do that looks like when you're sitting back at home watching the NBA draft and you see the Warriors make their selections at 7 and 14, or they make a trade and they move into the top 4, or they make a trade for a player? What can Bob Myers do to satisfy you, Warrior fans? What does he have to do to satisfy you?
I'm not sure there's a scenario out there right now. And I'd love to hear from somebody if they think there is. 888-957-9570. Log it in. You can text us. You can call us. Check us out on YouTube, Twitch, Odyssey app. I'm not sure that there is even a scenario out there where he would get universal praise. I think that's how kind of ridiculous the fan base is and how kind of unique their settings are. Like, they're in such a unique setting where we're so hyper-focused on maximizing the Steph Curry years that I don't even think people can think straight. Like, there is no right. And I also don't think there's one singular move out there that will get them universal applause. When they brought in Durant Everyone agreed. Wow, Kevin
Big
Durant,
move.
this is incredible. Now, there was a small amount of people like, oh, we're ruining strength in numbers. But for the most part, everybody was on board with that. There's no Kevin Durant-style move. Like, even Bradley Beal. For some, it will be, oh, my God, that's what I wanted. You got Bradley Beal. For a lot of other people on the other side, man, you gave up way too much. Even if you take a drafted player, like, there's no one. Maybe it's Cade Cunningham, but I don't think Cade Cunningham, 888-957-9570. You think anybody cares?
Yeah, Jalen Suggs. I mean,
I do think Suggs will get him universal applause.
Right.
Actually,
that's the one move.
I do. I actually do. Without surrendering Wiggins, without surrendering Wiseman, if they found a way to move both picks to get into position and whatever, Pascal and a future first to go get Jalen Suggs, because I think he's one of the very few players in this draft that the average fan recognizes from Gonzaga.
And you still have the sign and trade in place possibly with Kelly Oubre Jr. And so with that said, you have Steph, Clay, Dre, Wiggins, Looney, Wiseman, Poole, Jalen Suggs, potential player for the sign and trade with Kelly Oubre Jr. All of a sudden, you look like a Western Conference contender. Just like that. Just like that. By the way, a poll is up on our Morning Roast page, Morning Roast 957. Who do you trust more to swing the right move? Bob Myers or Farhan Zaidi? Farhan Zaidi right now running away with it with 59% of the vote. 59.8% of the vote over Bob Myers.
Yeah.
A lot more people trust Farhan Zaidi, even though the Giants haven't won anything yet. Although he hasn't traded away any of the core players, re-signed them, a lot more people already trust Farhan more than they trust Bob Myers. Bob Myers, who, by the way, helped swing the deal for Andre Iguodala.
So
people forget that.
I know. And here's a comment on YouTube right here from Jay. And shout out St. Mary's Park. Bob Myers hasn't showed me nothing, doggy. Where is the developed players? Where are the developed players?
Kevon Looney, Jordan Poole.
Come on, doggy.
Klay Thompson. Draymond Green.
Well, why doesn't he get credit for that? Why do we file everything under Jerry West?
Because Jerry West gets the credit.
Why?
I don't know.
He wasn't even living in the Bay Area.
It's Jerry West. That's why. It's Jerry West. He's got the name. He's got the rings. He's got the cachet. Bob Myers is, he's a former agent, but he went under Jerry West's wings, learned how to be a GM, and helped. I mean, those players, think about that. Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, are we not counting them? Because nobody assumed that Klay Thompson was going to be a superstar.
No.
Half this fan base was ready to trade him for Kevin Love.
And Draymond Green for Kevin Love.
Draymond Green. So, did he not develop? Like, Klay Thompson became a superstar. Draymond Green's a star. You know what I'm saying? Andre Iguodala helps you win championships. What about the signing of Sean Livingston? A nice veteran move.
Call.
You know what I'm saying? Swinging the deal for Monte Ellis or bringing in Andrew Bogut to help you win the championship. Bob Myers doesn't get any credit.
No.
Doesn't get any credit for that. Why?
Well, because I think that when you start to lose, the shine wears off quickly.
Right.
And whether it's not even his fault. Your best player got hurt, broke his wrist, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
While right before that, your other best player tore his ACL and was out for the entire year. Right? And then, by the way, you lost Kevin Durant, one of the greatest players the game has ever seen. So I don't know what people want to say here. Like, you're in a really difficult situation. I think it's really difficult to have a conversation with sports fans about nuanced cap situations and where you're drafting after you've been winning for so long.
Right.
All they look at is you won 15 games one year and you didn't make the playoffs the very next year. And Steph Curry was damn near an MVP. And so I think it's easy to just pivot to the anger and it's the GM's fault, when the reality is there's much more to the circumstances. And I actually think they did a pretty good job pivoting given all the negativity that was happening around them that was out of their control.
626 saying that Bob Myers can satisfy me if he drafted real dogs. No more high IQ, high character, one-dimensional dudes. We need real dogs. 415, Farhan is a bad man. Bob Myers is okay, but he's not the same without the logo. He's not the same.
Oh, my God, dude. Okay, Super Carnitas on YouTube just said, damn, Shasky, I thought you were black.
That's funny. That is funny.
I mean, really?
I'm scared to ask him what he thinks of me. Did he think I was a white guy? Damn. That's pretty funny. Is that the first time anybody's ever said that? They think you're black?
On YouTube, yes. On YouTube, yes. Hey,
man.
but seriously though, like on it.
Hey, by the way, shout out to everybody on YouTube. The subscribers right now up to 816. 816
Good.
people.
Let's grow that. Let's get to 1,000 by the end of the week.
YouTube. Yeah, no, this is pretty cool here. YouTube is popping. And don't forget about our roasters on Twitch. They're having a ball. I see Danker all over the place there. Mike Snow, Shut Out Raider Debater, Big Dog City's out there on the Twitch. This draft day. It's a great day in the Bay Area. Giants, Dodgers.
Yeah.
You got the MLB trade deadline tomorrow at 1 o'clock. You got training camp going down in Santa Clara with Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. And you got the Warriors finally on the clock. He's finally on the clock. Bob Myers, what is he going to do? Is he going to trade the picks? Do the Warriors want to trade the picks? What does Steph want?
Yes.
What does Dre want? What does Clay? What do the Warrior fans want? 888-957-9570. Now that draft day is here, would you like to see them select 2 rookies with 7 and 14? Would you like to see them move up in the draft? Would you like to see them trade picks? What do the Warrior fans want? Because I have no idea.
And let's just throw this out there. Would they even consider doing the unthinkable and trading Clay or Draymond?
I don't know if Clay has any value right now. Draymond Green?
Because no one talks about that, and we just continue to pivot toward Wiggins.
We tiptoe around that one.
So what? Why
Because
would they even consider something like that?
Something you said the other day is that Draymond is a made man.
Diplomatic immunity.
He's a made man because I was like, with the way Draymond is Draymond going to get better offensively? Can he get back up to 30% from the 3-point line?
Boy, that's a great question.
Can he give you 10 points per game? Can you win like that?
10 points a game.
Like 10 points.
That's all we're asking for. 10 points a game.
10 points a game. 3 layups. A couple threes. That's it. That's it.
And I know it's very hard to, believe all press conferences and everything that's said, but one thing that it hasn't gone unnoticed is that Bob Myers and Steve Kerr have spoken with such conviction that Steph, Clay, and Dre are going to be a part of this team moving forward that it's hard to put those two in the conversation. And it feels like they haven't really talked about Wiggins too much.
Well, I mean, that's a great point. And think of the last time they traded anybody who was a fan favorite. It was 11 years ago, 10 years ago.
Monte
Ellis. It's been a long time for the Warriors to make a really dramatic move like that, trading away somebody that the fan base was attached to. And, that ended up being the greatest trade that this organization's ever executed.
Absolutely. San Jose Podcast dudes. Bonte Shasky, this is on YouTube. Bonte and Shasky are going to ruin the 49ers locker room with all of this quarterback talk. You guys bring the spotlight onto the situation. Talk about the field conditions. Well, I hear the Levi Stadium grass is in great condition.
Oh, okay,
It's
good.
in great condition. Nobody's slipping around there.
I plan on going down there Saturday with you and pulling a couple, plucking some blades of grass and seeing if it's thicker than my backyard.
Are you going to chew on it?
No, I don't chew on grass. What do you?
You don't do that? Chew on the grass, or are you gonna
No, I don't
pluck it?
chew on the grass.
You're gonna throw it in the air to see which way the wind's blowing?
Psychopath? Oh yeah, I'll throw it in the wind. I'm not a psychopath like chewing grass. Come on, chewing grass? Is this a weird, Steven?
I've never heard of chewing grass.
You know, coaches sometimes they pull up the grass and they start.
No. Like what?
Never seen that before?
No.
Chewing the grass is just to see how edible it is. Just so you know,
to see how edible it is.
Is it Bermuda grass? Is it what type of grass is it? You
fescue, Kentucky blue.
You
Your
know
boy
what I'm talking about.
is installed some lawns in the backyard.
You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
I've absolutely in center field, in the outfield. I've blown grass. I do it when I'm golfing. I pluck a little and I put it in the air to see which direction the wind's blowing. I've never stuffed it in my mouth.
All right. Just ask it. That's it.
And I have a lot of grass experiences on and off surfaces.
Yes, I think we all do. By the way, let's pivot. Antonio, hang on tight. We'll get to you after the break. See, 650. He's heard of chewing the grass. Yeah, I think that's code to Los Altos. You got to chew the grass. Chew it up.
With humans or horses?
Both. Real and fake grass.
Okay, just real quick, go around the room. Steven, I've never heard of this. Have you?
Never heard of it.
John Curley, give me a thumbs up if you've ever heard of this.
Never, Joe.
Oh, thank you. I mean, what are you talking about? Chewing the grass.
Although Dan Campbell probably eats grass, if I had to guess one NFL coach that eats grass.
And dirt.
Anybody out there eating grass, chewing grass? Chewing the grass, 888-957-9570. I'm not talking about the stuff that gets you feeling really, really good, like smoking a little pot. I'm not talking about that type of grass. I'm talking about Kentucky bluegrass. You know what I'm saying? Bermuda grass. that type of grass. By the way, the new Odyssey exclusive stations are curated for sports listeners like you. Find your new summer soundtrack. There are hundreds of new stations for summer barbecues, road trips, working out, or relaxing poolside. You'll find a huge variety of music stations like Arena Rock, Rock of the 70s and 80s that conjures up memories of epic tailgate parties, mesmerizing light shows, fog machines, and lighters held high in the air. You'll find your favorite artists on Odyssey 2 on the all-new Artist radio stations. Check out the new Odyssey exclusive stations on the Odyssey app. Brought to you in part by Macy's and Geico. Draft Talk coming up. Ryan McDonough at 8:15. Who do you want to see the Warriors select at 7-14? It's a big day in Warrior Land, baby.
The Warriors' future. Fonte and Shasky.
Kate chilling at the Olympics out there in Connecticut, calling some hoops.
Where?
Connecticut.
Oh.
It's not in Tokyo. Not everybody went to Tokyo. They took the families to Orlando, where Kareth Burke is, chilling with the families in Orlando, Florida. Kozamore, Kate, they're up in Connecticut, calling games. By the way, this track is so fire. Who's this, Kravitz?
No, Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix.
Are you serious?
Jimi Hendrix. I made Jimi Hendrix. I did.
And the
I
song's
really
called,
did.
wait for it, Fire.
That's right. It's fire.
Wait,
it is fire.
B, can you
it
just
is Jimi
admit
Hendrix.
you have a hole in your game?
No, I don't.
You know, we talk
no,
about
no,
shortcomings of certain players.
No. I just get the names mixed up. In my head, it's Jimi Hendrix, but something else comes out of
you
my
said Lenny Kravitz, total different generation.
I know. It's just, dude, it's 8:02 in the morning. All right, let me warm up a little bit.
You
The
were
brain has to
bumping
warm up.
Larry June at 4:45 this morning when I walked in.
I mean, that's what I do. That's what I do to get ready, baby. So I'm telling you, man, like Guru said, the prep room is like the layup line of radio. You just got to get rolling. And what are you doing at the layup line? What are you listening to? You're listening to a lot of rap, a lot of hip hop, maybe a little fire.
Or if you're LeBron James, you're jumping in your child's layup line to show off and strut.
That's just too much of a flex. What are you doing, dude?
Hey, I follow Master P on Instagram because I find him to be very inspirational, and I love Master P. I know a lot of people feel a lot of different ways about him, but in terms of like making something out of nothing, like I have a tremendous amount of appreciation.
Doesn't love Master P?
Well, because there was a lot of people that thought that he ripped off a lot of Tupac stuff, and but whatever.
Like,
I mean, he's an innovator on a variety of levels and an entrepreneur. Anyway, his son was playing in an AAU tournament, and so was LeBron James' son, and they did a video together sitting there, and LeBron looked like he couldn't be bothered. And I wanted to be like, LeBron, this is Master P.
Master P, dog.
I mean, come on.
Master P's a legend, man.
Thank you.
He's a legend.
Thank you, Wody.
By the way, Aaron the Era on Twitch. What's up, Aaron? He's a Dodger fan. He texted me yesterday after going MIA for about a week.
So he's back now after that one win?
Basically back. He texted me yesterday, this game is already over. Ha, ha, ha. I didn't reply to him. He's a front runner. But he did say on Twitch, why do I know so many different blades of grass? Bonte here like the Bubba Gump of grass. That's a good one. That's funny.
Oh, I'm seeing something that's coming across my my timeline from Complex Magazine. You know, I love the tennis shoes. I love sneakers. I love basketball shoes. And I want to get into Darrell with this one. Kyrie and Nike are basically going at it. Kyrie is saying that the Kyrie 8s, these are trashed. Calling out Nike over the unreleased Kyrie 8 signature sneaker. And wow, there's
he said he didn't have any say so in the shoe design. They didn't even call him about the design.
Well,
which, you know
where my thoughts are on Nike. I told you a couple years ago that I just think that Nike's quality on a lot of the products for the price that you're paying, it's just gone down. And all I wore were Nikes for 25, 30 years. Now I'm on Team Adidas. I just find the Boost to be a more comfortable shoe. And I'm not into the Jordans. I know that's your thing. No. Everybody's rocking Jordans. So I want to be a little unique and be different. Look at you.
Look at these.
Look at the NMDs.
Yeah, come on, man. I've got about 3 pair of Adidas. Come on, man. I'm versatile. I go all over the world. I go Adidas. I go Reebok. I go Nike. Got to switch your game up. Then you got to go into the Louis V's and the St. Laurent's and the Gucci. I'll say that for another day here. Let's go to Antonio in Oakland. Let's talk some NBA draft here. By the way, a lot of grass stuff here on the text line. A lot of people saying, how do the white guys not eat grass? It is a thing. The 3 white guys on the show.
I'm born and raised in San Francisco in the Excelsior District. There were no grass on that concrete road I grew up on, okay? We didn't even have grass in the backyard. All right, have you been to Crocker Park? Not a lot of grass. In fact, more glass than grass on the ground.
It's at a few playgrounds in San Francisco growing up here. But grass, a lot of people ate the grass. Les Miles also at LSU. Antonio saved us here.
That's mine.
So am I. Antonio in Oakland, you're on the roast. What do you want to see the Warriors do here, NBA Draft Day? What do you want to see the Warriors do with 7-14?
At number 7, I want James Bouknight. Man, that guy he's like, speaking of Kyrie, he's like Kyrie at the rim with all his magicianness, like going under the rim, over the big guy, doing all that, man. He's real good. Good little short area quickness. He can be a good, 6-man off the bench or maybe start depending on how Clay comes back. At 14, I want Chris Duarte, be a good 3-and-D guy. To learn from Clay. He actually models his game after Clay. So, come on, Warriors. Pick those guys. Like Nike, just do it.
So the only issue, and I was kind of, on Book Night, and I like him. I'm starting to get a little apprehensive as we get closer to tonight's, draft starting, and I'll tell you why I'm getting apprehensive. Anytime a player rises dramatically after all the workouts and the individual meetings and everything like that, are we a little too focused on some of the intangibles as opposed to the tape and some of the things that they've done in games? I mean, I understand that there's a different game being played at the college level, but why is he dramatically rise so much? I don't know.
Hype. A guy gets hype,
and I'm trying to find something on him. I'm not trying to rip him. I'm just
I mean, because look, we admit that we didn't watch a lot of college basketball this season.
No.
And UConn being on the East Coast, they're not in the Big East anymore. Were they back in the Big East last year? I think maybe they were. Maybe. I could be wrong there.
Watching him, he's got a lot of...
I just didn't see a lot of them.
Watching the highlights, I see a lot more of, again, poor man's version of this, but McCollum. I see a little McCollum in him. Yeah, the ability to kind of get little funky shots off and score in the half court. But
sign me up for that. Sign me up for that if he looks like C.J. McCollum.
No, I'm saying poor man's. I like to do NBA comps. That doesn't mean that's who he's going to be.
Very poor.
Very poor.
All right, let's go to Jake in Castro Valley. He has
the Sunnydale version.
Hey, guys. I don't mind the idea of holding on to the 7th and 14th pick. Book Night looks all right. Moody, I'm not the biggest fan of. I think he's going to drop below 10. But and a lot of trades out there. I'm not the biggest fan on trading for Beal or anything like that. But there was a good trade I saw in a CBS article. I don't want to take credit for the trade idea, but they mentioned maybe trading back to the Memphis Grizzlies to pick 10 and giving them the 7th pick, and maybe getting either a Grayson Allen, Desmond Bain, or DeAnthony Melton, or even if we're lucky, maybe a Brandon Clark as a role player off the bench. Myself, I wouldn't mind Desmond Bain because of the 2 years on his contract, but I would like to see what you guys would think.
Jake, I want to see what you think. What if the Warriors trade these picks for, say, a Miles Turner or Bradley Beal? How will you feel?
I don't mind the picking up of Beal. He's a great offensive player. The fit, I don't think, would be terrible. I mean, in the offensive system, it'd be great, but the defense would be, a little shoddy. You'd have to see how that would turn out, especially if you got Clay trying to come back off an injury guarding small forwards. But Miles Turner, if we're only trading picks and no players, I think Miles Turner's a great player, and I think he's honestly where James Wiseman wants to be in the next 3 years, and that's exactly what the Warriors need right now. So definitely wouldn't be mad about Miles Turner.
So your kind of suggestion at the Memphis Grizzlies, we watched the Memphis Grizzlies, I believe, 4 times this year, right, B?
Yep.
All right. I mean,
they just traded Valanciunas.
Grayson Allen didn't even play in 2 of the games against the Warriors, and not because he was hurt. It was DNP coach's decision.
Right, and he killed the Warriors in that playing game.
No, he did.
He some big threes.
But
big threes.
Grayson Allen, I'm hoping whoever I select in this draft is way better than Grayson Allen.
Grayson Allen would it be disappointing? It would be. Not that Grayson Allen is a bad player. He contributed on the Memphis Grizzlies.
Is Grayson Allen better than Kent Bazemore? I'm asking sincerely.
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You got Bazemore for nothing.
Gosh.
You're going to move back in the draft to get him?
They both commit silly fouls. I mean, Grayson Allen may trip you and bust somebody's ankle.
Yeah.
I mean, he's borderline dirty.
And he's just a questionable person.
He's borderline dirty. Yeah, Grayson Allen, I don't know about that one. 888-957-9570. What do you want to see the Warriors do on draft day here? And who do you trust more to make the right move? Bob Myers or Farhan Zaidi? 888-957-9570. Let's go to Darrell in Oakland. Or is it Darrell? My bad, Darrell. My bad. Darrell in Oakland. What do you want to see the Warriors do today on draft day?
I just want to preface this by saying this is kind of like my birthday and Christmas because it's I get presents. I'm in my 40s now, and I don't really care about getting presents anymore. And think about it. You get a present, and you get to open it on opening day, and you get to watch it the rest of the year. So this is like my birthday. And so I really want the Warriors to draft Moses Moody. After watching everything, I've seen that guy play. He just turned 19, and he reminds me exactly of Andre Iguodala. Now, I called up a while ago, and I said I wanted Davion Mitchell, but you know what? Davion Mitchell, he might be able to be had at 14, but I don't think Moses Moody will. And Moses Moody is the only freak in the draft. He has freak long arms. He's awesome defensively. He's pretty good offensively. And he just turned 19 years old. And the guy, he reminds me of Andre Iguodala. I mean, if you look at his body, it's like, that guy's good.
Yeah, 6'6", 200 pounds. This is what I have in my notes.
Oh, you cut him off. I was going to ask him, what does his kid want to see the Warriors do? Because it seemed like his kid
wants to
has
take
some
his
thoughts.
attention. That's what it is. His kid wants
what
to do.
he got to take.
Moody, I think he's really nice. Two-way wing, put the ball on the ground, good vision, 3-ball. That's what I got on my little breakdown. I got a little chart here, as you can see, my NBA draft board. This is my Excel spreadsheet that Nash Solomon and I put together.
Nash
former producer. What?
Nash, I haven't heard from Nash since the Suns lost.
Yeah,
we text every day during the season. I say, keep your head up, man. It's okay.
My big
I haven't
board
heard
has
back
him
from
at 7.
I haven't heard back from him.
Yeah.
Nash, what do you want? Is he okay?
Speaking of
is
the
Nash
presence
okay?
thing that
No,
he brought
seriously,
up,
is Nash okay?
Yeah, Nash is great. He's going to probably, babysit my dogs at my house while I go on vacation.
Do you pay him?
At some point in the near future?
Do you pay him?
No, I don't pay him. I leave a fridge full of alcohol and food for him, and I give him an 85-inch television and PlayStation 5. I'm like, have at it, dude.
Damn, he's easily bought.
Well, I mean, he's a guy in his young 20s who lives with a bunch of other dudes. He wants to get away and spend a beautiful weekend in a beautiful home. Do you buy yourself presents? Because he was talking about, he doesn't get presents at this point. Like, I buy myself my own gifts now.
Yeah, I don't buy gifts. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, not a gift. I just buy myself something.
Right, yeah, I buy myself something. But he was onto something when he's like, I don't accept. I don't care for it. Yeah, I'm like that too. Now.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm older too. I've kind of always been like that.
Yeah.
But randomly, I'll just buy myself something to make myself feel good. There's no doubt about that. Let's go to Mike in Foster City. Mike, what's happening? What do you want to see the Warriors do here on draft day?
Yeah, I'd like to. If they can get Damian Lillard so he won't go to the Lakers, that'd be good. But if they can't get him, I think they should get a center like Mobley from USC or Garcia from Iowa. I mean, if you guys think Garcia's slow, who won the championship? Brook Lopez. He might be even slower. And Garcia would bang boards.
Oh, you're talking about Garza. Are you talking about Garza?
Yeah.
Garza.
Yeah,
Garza. Thanks for the call, Mike. We got to run. We got Ryan McDonough coming up in seconds here from Regime of the Phoenix Suns. I'm kind of out on Garza. Could be a fine player, but I'm out on that one.
Not on my big board of top 31.
He's not on the top 31 big board?
Not on here.
What about Mobley?
Mobley, I absolutely got him on here, but Evan Mobley's number 2 overall.
Right.
I mean, 7-footer. I mean, the guy's a unicorn. He's a springy dude.
Do the Warriors need a center? Do they really need a center?
No.
If Wiseman's going to be back and you have Kevon Looney, I don't think you need a center.
This is what I want them to walk away with. We could talk about all the different picks. I want them to walk away with someone like Jalen Suggs because he's a freaking floor general, and they need a playmaker and a guy who can control pace and can control setting up the offense in the half court. That's the area they absolutely need. Somebody who can operate this offense with Steph Curry alongside of him playing off ball, or with Steph Curry on the bench and kind of set up some of these others. Because as we saw at times last year, they throw it to Wiggins and they're like, get us an ISO bucket. It's just really hard. It exerts a lot of energy for him, and as someone that wants to play both ways, you can't expend all this energy with Steph off the court as the primary guy trying to work your own shots. You got to take a little off his plate.
Totally agree. By the way, the 925. The Warriors trade for Grayson Allen. Now root for the Clippers. That's how he feels about Grayson Allen. 650 Nash probably going to throw a rager while you're gone. Lucas will probably throw up everywhere. Lucas Alexander, producer for DRK. Probably.
Rob is saying from the 925. Nash is going to smash on your couch.
Yeah, I mean.
Not on my new couch.
Wow. I'll
pull a Rick James.
What are you doing? With that, we'll transition to Ryan McDonough. I'm sure he wasn't signing up for that one. Ryan McDonough, former GM of the Phoenix Suns. He's on the line. He's an Odyssey NBA insider. Insider calls are brought to you by Shell V Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. Ryan, I apologize for that little tidbit there, but Shasky is leaving his house to some 21-year-olds. Good luck to him. And good luck to Bob Myers later today in the NBA draft. So just tell us, when you wake up in the morning on draft day, what is the feeling like? What's in your head? What's going on? What's the process like?
Good morning, gentlemen. Always great to be on with you guys. And when you wake up, the first thought is, boy, I'm tired. You know, it's been a long process. It's been a long year scouting players. This year in particular with COVID is been a big challenge. And so for Bob Myers and his staff, they've had a lot going on, not only with the draft, but also getting ready for free agency and trade season to get underway in the NBA, which for this franchise, in the short term at least, is more important given their championship aspirations next year. So, Golden State will be one of the more active teams tonight. They sit at 7-14. They have 2 lottery picks. I frankly think they're in a little bit of a tough spot at 7 because I personally think there's a little drop-off there after the top 4 or 5 guys are gone. So I know they're a team that's been active on the trade market. I think they probably wouldn't mind consolidating those picks to move up in the draft if they can. However, the teams in the top 4 or 5 this year seem to be holding on to those picks very tight, really valuing the players at the top of the draft. I see it the same way. So I think Golden State, as of now, will pick 7 and 14, but I wouldn't be surprised, guys, if they trade one of those picks, especially 14, for a veteran player who helps a team with championship aspirations win games next season.
Look, you've had months to kind of talk all this out and list all the players, and we can get into the specific players that you think fit what they're looking for. But as a GM, you've been in that situation. You've been in Bob Myers' seat. I mean, is this coming down to the last second? Do they have an idea of what they want to do? How do you balance winning with Curry and all? Like, I feel like there's just so many different ways they can go right now, and they got to have a template for what they're going to do on a day like today, right? Like, they kind of know if there's a trade partner out there, right?
Yeah, you generally do, although that some teams intentionally will wait till the last minute and call you as something new that you haven't discussed before. So that's what makes the job hard. You have to be prepared for almost every scenario. Bob Myers and his staff are some of the best guys in the league at their job, so I think they're prepared for it. They probably have a list of players they would trade the 7th pick for. They have a separate list that they would trade the 14th pick for. They I think know if they combine 7 and 14 how high they could move up, if at all. One of the things I think is important for your listeners to keep in mind is this is not the NFL. It's not a volume draft in the NBA. So in the NFL, if you had the 7th and 14th pick, you might be able to move closer to the top of the draft. You can't do that in the NBA. That's usually not the way it works. So I think you made that great point, though. Like, do they pivot tonight? And in some ways, the draft or draft night is easier. If you're clearly a rebuilding team or just a contending team who's completely going for it. I think Golden State leans more toward a contending team, but at the same time, you don't want the bottom to fall out and to trade all your young players and draft picks and then really leave the cupboard bare when Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and these guys fall off. As a cautionary tale, look at what happened to the Houston Rockets over the past couple of years. Houston really struggled. They had the worst record in the league this past year. So that's what Bob Myers and Joe Lacob and their staffs are juggling tonight. Their short-term priorities to help the team win. They want to do that within reason without being reckless and mortgaging the future.
Ryan McDonough here on the Morning Roast with Joe Shasky and Bonte Hill on 95.7 The Game, former GM of the Phoenix Suns. Ryan, you mentioned how it doesn't work in the NBA to the point where you can try to trade 7 and 14 and get into the top 5. It's just different than the NFL. So what would the price be for the Golden State Warriors if they did want to move into the top 4, the top 5 of this NBA draft?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think 7 and 14 get it done just from what I'm hearing. I mean, those top 4 teams seem pretty locked in on Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, and Jalen Suggs, I think, in that order. Now, is Orlando at 5? I think Scotty Barnes is probably the guy, the forward out of Florida State for the Magic. However, keep in mind, Orlando also has 8. So I don't know what, Orlando would do with 3 lottery picks instead of 2 if, instead of 5 and 8, they had 7, 8, and 14. That's probably not something they want to do, draft 3 young guys in the lottery on a very young team. So that's why it's hard. So I think Golden State would have to dip into their basket of future assets, future draft picks, young players, maybe Eric Paschall or something like that. And I bring it up, guys, because as I look at it and think about it and talk it through, I think the price is too high just to move up a couple slots.
Right.
So my guess is, again, I think they're more likely, if they do make a trade, to trade one of those picks, likely 14 for a player. And then if they stick at 7 and 14, the debates I've heard they're having internally are what to do with Davion Mitchell. I've heard Steve Kerr likes him. Is he the guy at 7? He's not a great fit in terms of a backcourt-heavy team with Steph and Clay and Wiggins. I think he's the best player who's going to be available with the 7th pick. So I think the challenge for Golden State is if you pass on him at 7, I don't think he's going to be there again at 14. So what do you do with Mitchell? In a vacuum, he's the most talented guy who I think will be on the board with the 7th pick. But again, not a great fit for the roster, and I think that's what Bob Myers and Steve Kerr and their staffs are weighing and debating right now as they weigh potential trade opportunities as well.
Well, my partner asked you earlier about, the balance of this team, right? You're trying to win a championship, and you're also trying to develop at the same time. And with that challenge, it makes things difficult. But is one of these top 4 players in Suggs, Cunningham, Mobley, and Green, is it worth it to move up future assets 7 and 14 for one of those 4 players? Would they be worth it if the Warriors wanted to go in that direction?
Well, so it's a great question. I think if they did that, the guy, in terms of the value and also helping this team win, assuming they're able to do that while retaining Steph and Clay and Draymond, the guy is Evan Mobley, who's the best fit for that group. Cade Cunningham is a bigger, versatile wing. I guess he'd fit with kind of any team. That's the appeal, one of the appeals of Cunningham. But Jalen Green and Jalen Suggs are guards. I mean, those guys are guards. Jalen Green's more of a shooting, scoring guard. Jalen Suggs is a point combo guard, so that's not a great fit. So Evan Mobley is kind of the prototype for the modern NBA big man. He's long, he's versatile. Now the challenge with him, guys, is he's a little bit skinny and a little bit weak at that position. The body is going to take some years to fill out. So does that match the timeline with Golden State? But I think if they decide to use those picks and future assets to get up and retain, again, their best 3 players who are probably all headed to the Hall of Fame someday, Mobley would be the guy that you could justify doing that for if you think he has a chance to be special, because you could have him for a long time. He could help you win down the line, and he fits in with those 3 guys. But then the conversation becomes, if James Wiseman's not in that package, how does Mobley impact Wiseman? And are those 2 guys able to play together with Draymond on the roster in today's NBA?
Who would be the biggest reach or risk if you were assessing the Golden State Warriors right now? Let's say they stay at 7. Is there a player, anyone in the top 10, 12, 15 that you would think would be kind of a big-time reach for this organization and would not really help them anytime in the near future?
So the 2 biggest gambles, or the 2 biggest guys, the guys that I'm having the hardest time finding a floor for, and with the floor, obviously, I mean, where do they get drafted? Where does the slide stop if they do, quote-unquote, slide in tonight's draft, are Jonathan Kuminga, the talented wing for the G League Ignite. Keep in mind, guys, at one point, this guy was considered in that top 5 grouping with the guys we mentioned, Cunningham, Green, Mobley, and Suggs. He was considered in that mix. He's not anymore, and I think he's a guy that, while he was projected at one point as a top 5 or 6 pick, could be on the board well past 7 if Golden State doesn't take him there. So where does Kuminga land? And then one who's the even bigger wild card, guys, because of the background, and teams have some question marks about the mental makeup, is Jalen Johnson, the talented forward out of Duke. When I watched the film on this kid, when I watched him play for the Blue Devils, he really popped in terms of the athleticism. He's 6'9". He can do a lot of things with the ball. He can get out in transition. However, he left Duke in season. Coach K had some publicly critical things to say about him. So teams have concerns about Johnson. They love the talent and the upside, but is it worth kind of the headache and making sure that he's professional and plays the role the team wants him to play? So keep an eye on those 2 guys, Kuminga and Johnson, potentially sliding tonight and being on the board longer than was initially anticipated.
You referenced Evan Mobley, saying that would be the type of player that the Warriors, hypothetically would move up to get, and it would really fit them. Does he fit with Wiseman? Is he better than Wiseman? Kind of break down the Wiseman-Mobley dynamic, if that were to happen in this hypothetical.
Yes, I'm glad you asked that because in a lot of ways, James Wiseman's situation reminds me of DeAndre Ayton's. They're different, but we drafted DeAndre Ayton in Phoenix with #1 pick. We're heavily criticized for that, especially when Luka Doncic and Trae Young and others got off to such a great start in their career. And I bring it up because if you look at the history of big men, especially the recent history of young big men in the NBA, they tend to take longer to develop. Would Cleveland be interested? The Cavs have the 3rd pick. That's where I think Evan Mobley is going to go. If Cunningham goes 1 and Jalen Green goes 2, as I anticipate. So would Cleveland take Wiseman 7 and 14 for 3, and then the Warriors can draft Mobley at 3? They might. I mean, they certainly have to think about that. But does Golden State want to do that? Do they want to give up that kind of value? Only they know, what they think James Wiseman can be and what his ceiling and potential is. I bring it up because I know Warriors fans are a little down on the kid. I personally would not give up on him. I like Wiseman's talent. If we're up to me, I'd probably rather keep Wiseman, draft Davion Mitchell at 7, and then figure out what to do with the 14th pick. Maybe flip 14 for a veteran who can help you win right now. That's what I would recommend at the moment if I were in the Warriors front office.
Ryan McDonough here on our Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game, former GM of the Phoenix Suns, and you brought up Wiseman there because a lot of people have thrown him in the deal, as well as Andrew Wiggins. For some reason, Andrew Wiggins has been treated like chopped liver when I thought he had his best season as a professional last year with the Golden State Warriors as a third option. And, with Klay Thompson coming back, he'll be a third option again, but we'll see a lot more open shots. Why do you think so many people are down on Wiseman? What is it that really triggered people to be so down on James Wiseman as a 19-year-old last season?
That's a great question. I think the expectations when you're drafted that high in the draft, when you come to a star-studded team, obviously they were less star-studded last year without Klay being out for the year, but the expectations are high, as you guys know, and as Warriors fans look at their 3 best players, Curry, Thompson, and Green. Those guys are all in their 30s, so they look to the future and hope James Wiseman's the savior. And I think it's wrong to look at him that way. So I think, with Wiggins, he had an excellent year last year. I think the easy answer to that question is if the Warriors make a trade for a veteran, a significant salaried veteran, say like a Bradley Beal, Wiggins would almost have to be in the deal. I'm struggling to come up with other ways to structure it financially from a cap matching perspective. As I look at their salaries, if it's not Steph, Klay, or Draymond, then it basically has to be Wiggins. And then even if you were to include Wiseman as their next biggest salary under contract, assuming you didn't do a sign and trade with Kelly Oubre, you have to have, again, enough money to put together a deal that makes sense financially for both sides. So I think that's why Wiggins is included in some of this. Guys, as I looked at the Warriors last year, I don't think their biggest issue was, the production of Andrew Wiggins. Again, as you mentioned, I thought he produced very well and played well for the Warriors. I thought their bigger issues were, first and foremost, the injury to Klay. But assuming Klay is back next year, I think they need better bench talent and depth than they had a year ago. I thought the bench was pretty thin. And then if you look at the numbers, they need somebody to help, stop the bleeding to some extent and prop up the offense when Steph Curry's on the bench. He had one of the biggest spreads from on-court, off-court, plus-minus in the league. He has throughout his career. He's that good, but they need to find somebody in that Sean Livingston role that Sean filled so well for the Warriors who can at least keep the team competitive when Curry's off the floor.
Man, you're preaching to the choir here. I feel like we're on the same thing because you actually watch the games. Ryan McDonough, former Suns GM. No, I mean that because
he's on point.
We get all these crazy hypotheticals. Ben Simmons, give me Bradley Beal, trade away everything. It's like, man, Wiggins was so good for this team last year. I feel like he's so devalued right now. What's the biggest thing that's going to happen tonight? Is there a trade, like a Ben Simmons trade, a Bradley Beal trade? Is there a flip-flopping in the top 5? If you were just to throw out your boldest prediction for tonight, what's everybody going to be talking about come tomorrow morning?
Yeah, a couple different things. As far as the draft, where does Davion Mitchell go if the Warriors pass on him at 7? I think there's some scenarios where he could be available in the later lottery. I don't think he gets back to them at 14. I think Indiana at 13 is probably his floor, but I think that guy's really good. I have him ranked 6th on my board, so I think he'd be a steal if he gets beyond the 10th pick. And then as far as trades, I'm not anticipating a high-level blockbuster, including Damian Lillard or Bradley Beal or Ben Simmons. I think it's too early in the process, and I think Washington and Portland don't want to trade their stars, and Philly is setting a super high bar. So keep an eye on a bunch of moves that are made as far as positioning for free agency, guys. It's not a great free agent class, but if a team needs a point guard in free agency, the teams move things around. Does Miami make a move or Dallas make another move? The New York Knicks, those big market teams, with Chris Paul, Mike Conley, and Kyle Lowry, and others, Lonzo Ball, Spencer Dinwiddie available. The teams that need point guards, I don't think the ones that want to contend next year figure they're going to address that through the draft of a point guard, especially a young point guard outside the top 5. So keep an eye on some veteran players being on the move as teams line themselves up for free agency, which, keep in mind, as we sit here and record this on Thursday morning, free agency starts on Monday, so there's a very quick turnaround from tonight's draft to free agency getting started next week.
I was going to say real quick on that. Do you think they should flip-flop it and have free agency before the draft?
You know what? That's been discussed at the highest levels of the league. When I was in the GM committee meetings with the NBA, certain teams, the Houston Rockets and Boston Celtics in particular, have pushed for that. And I think that's something that most of the teams would welcome because in terms of order of importance, free agency is more important to your team in the short term. I mean, look at the Warriors. If the Warriors knew who they were going to get or what they could do in free agency, that may impact, or I think would impact, what they're going to do with the 7th and 14th pick. Now they have to do it the other way. And if you draft 2 players, assume they stick at 7 and 14 and draft 2 players and then want to trade one of those guys, well, then the trade calculation changes because it depends on what the other team then thinks of the players. They're not draft picks anymore. They're now players at 7 and 14.
Right. Yes.
So, it's a great question. I think a lot of teams would love to flip that order because, again, free agency helps your team more in the short term than does the draft, especially when you're drafting players between 19 and 22 years old.
Ryan McDonough here on 95.7 The Game, the Morning Roast, former GM of the Phoenix Suns. Real quick before we get you out of here, we got about 30 seconds here, Ryan. What do you think happens with Kelly Oubre Jr.? Do the Warriors have a chance to maybe get a sign and trade for him because of his comments in the recent weeks? It feels like he's not coming back to the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, Oubre's market's a little down. He played well a year ago in Phoenix for the Suns. I watched him closely. He was up and down. Obviously, had the struggles early with the shooting in Golden State. I think that's something that they have to look at and explore, guys, because this is a high payroll team. When you look at their top 4 guys, Curry, Thompson, Wiggins, Green, in terms of salary, well north of $100 million. Doing a sign and trade with Oubre or re-signing Oubre, which I agree with you, that seems less likely, is super important because they're restricted financially. So they should hope there's a team that's over the cap or doesn't have the ability to just sign Oubre that wants to do a sign and trade, because if Oubre signs with a team that just has salary cap space, that team doesn't need Golden State to do business. They can just use their space and sign him, and then Golden State is left out in the cold.
Ryan, excellent stuff. We'll do it again very, very soon. Thanks for the draft talk. It's here. It's like Christmas out here in the Bay Area with the Warriors on the clock at number 7 and 14. Ryan, we'll do it again soon. Have a great day.
Anytime, guys. Great to be on with you.
Absolutely. That was Odyssey NBA insider Ryan McDonough. Insider calls are brought to you by Shell V-Power, Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. We know life is busy, so come to Shell to fill up, save up, and snack up to make the most of the stop you need to make.
Degenerate Daddy on Twitch saying that interview was fire. And this is what I got to say about McDonough. You know, he gives you a freaking meat sandwich of NBA cold, hard analysis in your face. There is no emotion attached to anything. This is what it is. This is what I see. And my biggest takeaway from the whole thing, we could get into Mobley in a second. My biggest takeaway from him was the impression of people regarding Wiggins
and Wiseman.
Which has been one of my big takeaways the last couple of weeks, which I believe is in the same thought process as you. We are treating and talking, not us, but just the narrative around him.
Right.
We're talking about Wiggins like he's some throw-in. Like, I have to staple Wiggins' contract to anything because nobody wants him. You didn't watch last year.
I mean, it's unbelievable because we are in the same thought process here in Half-Life, excuse me. What's up out there? Half-Life does live the best life. My boy from SF State, city kid, rooting guy as well. But he said Ryan was awesome.
Oh, yeah? Crusader?
Ryan was absolutely Chris
That's my kind of guy.
Chris, he's a good dude. But he's saying, everybody's saying Ryan McDonough is great. And he was. The Wiseman and Wiggins, I'm glad you brought that up because Wiggins gave you 18. He gave you solid defense. You played in all but one game, and basically Kerr rested him for the Sunday game against Memphis on the last day of the regular season. Wiggins will be solid with Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry. Look, we want him to shoot better free throws. No doubt about it. We want him to rebound a little bit more. But Andrew Wiggins was not the problem last season. He's not the problem. And in crunch time, people said, oh, he wilts in crunch time. Oh, he can't hit a shot. Well, Steph and Klay are going to be shooting at crunch time. I don't need him to shoot in the last 3-4 minutes of the game. Wiggins was fine. And as far as James Wiseman, because a lot of people bring up Miles Turner. Miles Turner's a good player. But James Wiseman damn near had comparable numbers when it comes to points, rebounds, and field goal percentage. And as just a pure three-point shooter, I like Wiseman a little bit better than Miles Turner as a three-point shooter. So you know what it is, Shasky? It's patience. They want the now. And they see Bradley Beal and they see the 31 points per game attached to his name, and they're saying, oh, that's 60 between Bradley Beal and Steph Curry. Well, how much are you giving up on the defensive end? How much are you giving up on the defensive end? And do you really want Klay Thompson guarding threes?
No, you don't.
Like,
no, you
honestly,
don't want him.
Boy, seriously, you want Klay Thompson guarding threes and defending threes? Because now all of a sudden you get into foul trouble with Klay guarding bigger guys. Going off of gruesome leg injuries, the knee, the Achilles. Like, what are we doing here?
Okay, when you hop into a hot tub, you don't just jump in.
Right.
You dip and ease in, and you slowly go down as your trunks start to fill up with water, and then you push them down, and then you sit down very slowly. That's the way I'm approaching defense next year for Klay Thompson. I'm dipping my toe in, and I'm easing him into the hot tub. All right? We're not cannonballing into the hot tub and trying to get him, because then you'll get water all over the place.
Well, who's going to – but think about this. Bradley Beal, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. They're going to be on the floor.
It's a great 2K team.
A great 2K team. Who's going to play the 5? Who's going to protect the rim?
I don't know.
Who's going to play
Well, everyone wants. This is the other thing. Everyone wants Draymond Green to exclusively play center, but partly why he deteriorated during 17, 18, 19 was because they had him playing center way too much, and him banging with big guys with that hurt shoulder isn't going to help him. Yes, do I want him to play center? Of course I do. But you have to pick and choose your spots throughout the year. You can't exclusively play Draymond Green at the center position. And just really quick, just to show you how wild today is going to be, Giants-Dodgers, the rubber match. Obviously, we're going to be monitoring baseball trade deadline. We've got the NBA draft tonight, biggest Warrior draft in what feels like forever. And now I'm seeing sources. This is your boy Jason Dumas from Cron. Sources, the Sixers hope to trade Ben Simmons tonight. The asking price remains the same. The relationship seems to be over. It's not a matter of if,
it's
but
a matter
when.
Of when. I heard the Sixers are asking for 4 first-round draft picks. Like, we didn't watch the NBA playoffs this past year.
Are you out of your mind?
Like, did we not watch the Sixers lose to the Hawks and Ben Simmons not? What did he take in the fourth quarter? Like 4 field goals in 7 games in the fourth quarter? Ben Simmons, you want 4 first-round picks? He can't go back to that situation. It seems like it is done. By the way, I thought you were going to go John Heyman, our Odyssey Major League Baseball insider. He's saying that the Dodgers and Padres are in on Berrios and Scherzer. Those are the 2 teams that are in on Scherzer and Berrios from the Minnesota Twins. So, of course, Berrios from the Twins, Max Scherzer from the Washington Nationals. So the Giants need to make a move. Man, they can't let the Dodgers get Scherzer.
And it looks like the White Sox traded for Cesar Hernandez.
Second baseman from
They're
Cleveland.
also checking in right now on Pirates' Richard Rodriguez and the Orioles' Paul Fry, looking for bullpen. That's via John Morosi.
Right.
Baseball trade deadline going absolutely Buck Louie.
That's
Tom
tomorrow,
Brady
1:00.
just put out a video. Did you see this? I sent it to Steven and Curly. We're going to have to pull that off the internet. It looks like Tom Brady Madden 2022 video with Ocho Cinco. So as soon as we get that audio, that's the big breaking news that I'm really looking forward to.
All right, Darrell Wright as well, 9 o'clock. He's going to be in studio for the final hour of the morning roast, talking about the NBA draft and the 510 here on the text line. Who's going to come off the bench, Bonte? Who's going to come off the bench for the Warriors if they make this trade for Bradley Beal? I have no idea. You want the same bench from last season?
I mean,
that's not going to win you championships.
Well, I think people want to, sign 10,000 veteran minimums. Look out there what's on that veteran minimum market. It's not a lot of great players.
No.
There aren't any real differences.
No.
If you think Reggie Jackson is signing the veteran minimum after what he did last year, you're delusional.
Don't forget, if you're looking for sports betting content all day long, the BetQL network is now available nationwide on the Odyssey mobile app and website. Over 10,000 home and auto-connected devices at BetQLnetwork.com. This is wagertainment for every single fan, morning, afternoon, and night. Betting angles throughout the day, insights from local and national experts, entertaining content to keep both casual and hardcore bettors engaged. Get sports betting tips from the best in the game. BetQL Network, streaming now on Odyssey. Darrell Wright in 20 minutes, live in studio. Let's go out to the phone lines because they are lining up. Dave
What a
in
wild
Oakland.
day in the Bay.
Dave in Oakland.
Oof.
What's happening? What do you want to see the Warriors do here on draft day? Dave, what's happening?
Hello?
What's up, Dave? Let's go. You're on the roast.
Thanks, fellas. Hey, look, Can y'all do me a favor? Can y'all please stop saying Wiggins had a great year or a good year? Wiggins had a good year. I mean, he had an okay year. But if last year was his best career year, then I think you've seen all you need to see from Wiggins. Let's be honest. He had some good games, but he had a lot of bad games. He didn't show up. We need something more than Wiggins. And also, Wiseman, he's not a superstar. And I don't think that you need to invest too much in somebody that's not a superstar. We know superstars. When superstars come on the court, we know what they are. Bron, Melo, Iverson, Curry.
Did you know
LeBron
Curry
and
was,
Melo haven't? I mean, LeBron won rings. Melo and Iverson didn't win no rings. I want to win rings.
You didn't think Steph Curry was a superstar when he first hit the court with the Warriors?
When they stepped on the court, you saw they were superstars.
When did you think Curry was a superstar?
Yes, he was balling.
Dude, when did you think Giannis was a superstar?
Drew Holiday?
Drew Holiday ain't a superstar right now.
They don't win the ring without him. That's the point. You have a superstar. You're trying to build the roster out around him. And I categorically disagree with you on Wiggins. He had a very efficient year. He played the second most minutes on the team, had more blocks from the forward and guard position than anyone else in the league last year, contested
defense.
more shots percentage-wise, and had higher defensive ratings than Drew Holiday during the regular season, and also shot a higher clip than Bradley Beal from three-point land. Yeah, he didn't chuck up 30 shots a game. You would see the scoring go up if he was given the autonomy of just, hey, green light, shoot whenever you want. He played within the fabric of the offense and really helped this team. Do I want him to rebound a little better? Absolutely. Do I want him to shoot better free throw percentage? Absolutely. All right. But in terms of like looking around the league and saying that he wasn't a really good to great player, you want to dilute he's great, he's just only very good. You want to meet me in the middle somewhere? Fine. To say that he stinks and he's just some throwaway, I mean, you don't know what you're watching.
And Wiseman's 20 years old now. I mean, 20 years old. You played 69 minutes of college basketball. And he gave you nearly 12 points and 6 rebounds.
Dave's the guy picking Farhan instead of Bob Myers in terms of who's the person they trust more.
Dave's sipping that. He's not sipping timeless coffee. Or if he is, there's a little something extra in that timeless coffee. Oh, boy. Let's go up to Vacaville. I haven't heard from this guy in a while.
Who is it?
It's Javier on the morning roast.
Lab coat? Are we going to have nothing but trades? Give it to me.
I'm just going to turn off my mic and back away.
How are you guys doing today? It's been a minute, Mr. Shasky and Mr. Hill. How are you guys doing?
I like it when you call me Mr. Hill, Javier.
I'm doing great. Trey Lance hit the field yesterday. The Giants, although they lost to the Dodgers, are in trade talks with everyone. Warriors' biggest draft day in forever. I'm feeling really good, Javier. And in fact, I can't wait for Levi's in 2 weeks when I get to see the Chiefs and Trey Lance take the field.
Perfect. Now, this is my big caveat that I want you guys to, be cognizant of. I say this with not the whole, Andrew Wiggins ain't worth, a 15th round pick, but if the Warriors had a second scorer in the playing game against the Lakers, do they or do they not win that game? Yes or no?
They win that game. Klay Thompson, that's your second scorer.
No. Period. No. Great. Thank you. You answered exactly what I'm trying to prove. Klay Thompson is being deemed as somebody that's going to come back and be who Klay Thompson was. Cuz ain't played in over 2 years with an Achilles injury significant enough with an ACL to compartmentalize all that the year before. And we're just putting Klay Thompson as, he's going to come back and he's going to be Klay. Who said he's just going to be Klay Thompson again? You guys are acting as if people are going to have Klay Thompson as back to Klay from 2019 when he's dunking in the Raptors NBA Finals series.
Okay, so what is your point here, Javier? Do you want to see a trade or not, Javier? What is your call, man? We don't have all day. What do you want to see the Warriors do?
Is Jimmy Ward going to play corner for the Niners?
My practicality is more than reasonable because you call the Wizards or you call the Blazers or you even call NM2 and you say, I give you the 2 first-round lottery picks, Wiseman and Wiggins, and you capitalize on Steph and Draymond's 3-year window. So don't rush Klay into being back that second scorer. And if you think I'm crazy, anybody would tell you if they had a second scorer like Beal or somebody like Levine or anybody that ilk against the Lakers or even against the Grizzlies, they don't lose that series.
So who's coming off your bench? Who's coming off your bench, Javier? Who's coming off your bench, Javier?
I'll tell you.
Alan Smiley-Geach?
So don't, let me give you the name. And don't jump down my throat. You have Lee, Bazemore, Pascal, you go give Drummond, or you have Looney off your bench.
All right, you got to go. You got to go, Javier. Call me back tomorrow.
Hey,
Call me back tomorrow,
Javier.
Javier.
Can I just ask a question?
I'll make your Drummond. Can we watch it?
Okay, forget that. Just this is the part that I don't understand. I'm not saying that I put defense above offense. Bucket getting is very important. But someone on the roster has to stay in front of Luka, Dame, Jamal Murray, Kawhi, Paul George, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell. Like, just the West alone is absolutely loaded with guards and perimeter playmakers. You have to have one guy who can mark some of these people up.
You also need size.
I agree.
Did you not see the Final
Length.
Four? Did you not see the Final Four? Milwaukee, physicality, size. Phoenix, physicality,
Atlanta,
size.
sneaky size, too.
Very
John
good. Capella,
Collins.
DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, like size, physicality. Even the Clippers with Zubac and Kawhi, when he's in there, they have size. So,
And when
888-957.
when Hunter got hurt, excuse me, as I just mumbled that. Yeah. He, I mean, that was huge for them.
I like DeAndre Hunter a lot. 6'8", two-way player, can hit the three. Darrell Wright sitting in the lobby.
Is he?
Yeah, he's sitting in the lobby just chilling.
Nice.
He'll come in at 9 o'clock to talk about the draft.
He was on the golf course the other day.
Oh, he plays golf. You see him stunting with the Jays? See him flexing with the Jays?
I did. I mean, because I'm going to go swinging it a little later today, and so I might have to ask him, how his golf game's going.
Yeah, let's ask Darrell. He's been on the course twice. Nice little drive, too. You see that? How they followed through with that? It was pretty nice.
You have no idea what you're talking about right now.
My golf analyst.
I'm chewing grass, watching golf videos.
Analysis right there. My golf analysis right there. I text Butch about the British Open. Hey, NBC, the broadcast, man, I don't know about this one. And he starts, hey, the difference between links golf and this golf. Dude, I didn't ask all that. I don't need to know all that. It's a golf class.
We missed Johnny Miller in the booth is basically what I was trying to get at.
Let's go to George in Los Altos. George, what's happening? You're on the Morning Roast.
Good morning, guys. It's been a while. I hope you're okay.
We're doing fine, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. Listen, I think we have a scorer on the bench, and I think his name is Jordan Poole.
Thank you.
I'm with you.
Because what I saw last year was an emergence where we really saw him and his true potential come out. I mean, he was playing fantastic, man. He was going inside and scoring from the outside. He was fantastic. And so I think we have that answer. I'm just mystified, though, on what we do about the Bradley Beal thing. I think I'm more inclined to get Miles Turner, maybe give up one of our draft picks and keep the other one. But I hope people stop saying get rid of Andrew Wiggins, get rid of Andrew Wiggins. I think he's a stud.
Yeah, I'm with you. And here's the thing on the Miles Turner.
George.
You could trade a pick, but you have to attach a player. Like that's because he was making, I think, $14 million. I could be wrong, but it's something like $14 million. So you can't just trade a pick because it has no monetary value attached to it until 30 days after you make the selection. You got to attach somebody that makes some. And I would like, in a vacuum, I would like to have Miles Turner.
Yeah, Miles Turner. Yeah, his name's been floating around the last couple of years.
He's all right.
I don't think you need all that much to get into the top four of the Western Conference. Now, is 7-14 good enough to get into the top four? No clue. I'm not sure if it's Bouknight or Mitchell or Zaire Williams from down in Stafford. I have no idea. But I don't think the Warriors are that far off because I do expect Clay to be Clay. All right, he had the ACL injury. The ACL's looks like it's fine. The Achilles, that's a tough injury to come back from. He's probably not going to play back-to-backs. He's probably going to be on some sort of minutes restriction. But I do expect Clay Thompson, like, he didn't forget to play basketball. It's like riding a bike, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to just forget about how to drill a three-pointer. He's not going to forget his shooting motion. What we got?
Well, Wes Goldberg, who is covering the Warrior beat, put out a tweet right now. The NBA draft is tonight, and here are the names that I'm hearing for the Warriors in no order. And I'm going to just throw these names at you, Bonte, and you can marinate on this. Let's start with number 7. Kuminga, Bouknight, Wagner, and Giddey.
I like Bouknight, and I like Kuminga.
Wagner doesn't do it for you?
Doesn't do it for me.
And you have to pronounce it that way, too,
Wagner,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Wagner from Michigan.
Isn't his brother the one that the Lakers took?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. And I think they traded him away.
Yeah.
Giddey doesn't do anything for you?
Haven't seen enough of Giddey. I don't know much about Giddey.
Yeah.
He's 6'8". I mean, he's got great size. Langford, you know about Giddey?
I know he plays in Adelaide. for the National Basketball League. That's all I got.
That was terrible. But it was
I thought
good.
that was pretty good.
It was pretty good, Tara. It's like
Not
good,
bad.
terrible. Yeah.
All right, let me give you
so bad it's good.
Again, this is Wes Goldberg's tweet. The NBA draft is tonight. Here are the names that I'm hearing for the Warriors. This guy covers the Warriors. He's in the locker room all the time. Number 14. Here are the names in no order that he's hearing are attached to the Warriors: Moody, Mitchell, Duarte, Murphy. The wild cards are Keon and Jalen Johnson.
Jalen Johnson did work out for the Warriors. I'm not sure about him. Moody's getting a lot of love and a lot of hype, but those are nice options at 14. At 14, Duarte is obviously the name everybody's kind of attached to Warriors to. We had Dana Altman, his coach at Oregon, on the other day. He talked up Chris Duarte. I'm not mad at that if they make those picks. I'm really not.
So we asked Ryan McDonough something about free agency being before the draft. Right now, It's draft first, then free agency. Wouldn't it be a hell of a lot better if the Warriors had some clarity on the sign and trade stuff with Oubre? Like, hey, he's either gone for nothing or we can get something. Like, wouldn't that make draft day so much easier for them to execute?
Absolutely. The NFL. Free agency is before the draft, right?
Exactly.
That's actually, you know what? The fact that Ryan McDonough said that, we've talked about this at length.
It drives me crazy.
Orders, and I haven't really thought about it. I would love free agency. Now, the Warriors obviously wouldn't be big players, right? Because they don't have a lot of money. But at least you would know where Kelly Oubre was, whether or not you do the sign and trade or whatnot. I like that. I like that a lot. I actually think they should flip that. That's a good call.
Well, I mean, it just gives you more clarity and understanding of what you can and can't do. And I don't know, man. I just having the Oubre thing be out in the ethos and not knowing one way or the other what's going to happen there, it just makes it opens the cupboard to options. So like on if I were to do it beforehand and all these teams haven't executed their draft picks, like right now, right? How many teams are going to take a shooting guard or a small forward in this draft? Well, once that is clarified, those teams are going to be probably out on Kelly Oubre, right?
No doubt.
Now, if that happened beforehand, there'd be more suitors.
Right, unless some teams already have tampered and made a phone call, the nod and a wink, where Kelly Oubre Jr. is like, yeah, I'll be there. Don't worry about it. You got the bag for me? All right, I'm going there. By the way, YouTube. On fire right now. Go subscribe on YouTube at 95.7 The Game. Twitch, our roasters are Twitch are strong. They're loving Wiseman. A lot of people on Twitch are saying, don't give up on Wiseman. Why would you give up a big to get smaller in today's NBA? Size is coming back. You need length. You need athleticism. You need some sort of rim protector.
Shot contesting is a very underrated thing. Shot contesting and staying in front of people on the dribble drive. Those are my two biggest elements on defense. Can you contest shots at the rim, out on the perimeter, and can you stay in front of dribble drive penetration?
Let me ask you this before we hit the break and bring in Darrell. Darrell Wright, of course, he's an NBA champ, former Golden State Warrior, now on NBC Sports Bay Area pre- and post-game with your boy and Chris Mullen, the Hall of Famer. Bradley Beal, is there any way you can warm up to a Bradley Beal deal? Is there any way that somebody could sell you on the Bradley Beal deal?
Yeah, his name's Steph Curry. If Steph Curry says that's the only thing that I want, how am I going to sit here and be like, nah, Steph, you haven't earned the benefit of the doubt as a beautiful basketball mind to be able to choose who you want to play with? Like that would be the deal breaker for me right then and there. Because all the other reasons that I've been listing for weeks ad nauseum, they just don't make a lot of basketball sense for me when it comes to roster construction, and some of the fallout from acquiring him costs you all the other resources to fill out the rest of this team.
Great question from the 408. Which NBA team is under the most pressure tonight? Feels like the Warriors are in the top 5, right?
Hey, look. As much as
That's a great question from the 408.
As much as we hyper-focus on the Warriors, I feel like the Sixers are in a really weird spot, too, because they thought they had 2 generational players. They haven't won a lick, and one of them's on his way out the door. I think they're in a very different spot than the Warriors, but I sense the same amount of pressure.
All right, download the Odyssey app. Discover hundreds of new exclusive, I have to say that word all day, music stations available now for sports and music fans by sports and music fans. Check out Troy Hughes Stadium Anthems. Get amped for the big game with the best tracks from rock and more. The new Odyssey app, brought to you in part by Macy's and Geico.
It's draft day, baby. 3, 2, with Kate, Vontae, and Shasky.
Oh, that never gets old. Tim Hardaway Sr. D. Wright knows Tim Hardaway Sr. We got D. Wright in studio. Darrell, of course, former Warrior, NBA champ with the Miami Heat. It is draft day with the Warriors with the number 7th and number 14th pick in the NBA draft later on tonight. What will they do with the picks? Will they trade them? Will they keep them? Will they make a big-time splash here? We've got Darrell with Shasky and Bonte to spice things up today on the Morning Roast. D. Wright, what's happening, man?
What's up, Bonte? How you doing, man? It's been a minute.
Gabe, good play, man. I'm sorry that we got Joe Shasky here.
Oh, come on.
Shasky's like a kid in the candy store because he gets to get off all the golf takes right now. For sure. D. Wright, because before we get into the draft, you've been on the course, man. You've been swaggy on the course. You've been wearing the J's. You've been driving it. Now, my golf expertise, it's basically like I would be like a second grader when it comes to golf, right? What would you say about my golf
I think a second grader might beat you and outdrive you.
Yeah,
right now,
it's
totally
a stretch. Yeah, probably. That's probably true. But
I'm getting them to know, because it's becoming more and more popular now, especially with the pandemic.
Yeah, it's been very popular. A lot of these courses are backed up like crazy. I'm talking about a 4-hour round is taking like 6 hours.
Way too long.
Yeah, but Bonte, you're a lefty, man. You should definitely try it. Lefties always do a little bit better. You know what I mean?
I'm getting out there. I'm investing quietly. I've been looking at golf clubs.
Oh, God.
Just to try to get out the
Jordan
house.
doesn't make golf clubs.
No, I know.
Just
he
letting
doesn't.
you know.
Yeah, I know. What was a favorite? I see some clubs for like a set of clubs for like $400. I guess that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, that's very inexpensive. Now they're like $1,500
I'm
to
falling on a budget,
$2,500.
man. I'm falling on a
They can
budget.
get real expensive.
You got the Olympic hat on. So.
Darrell was talking about, and I want to get into some of this draft stuff, but Darrell was talking about he has a golf clothing line coming out, and your boy's going to go play a little later, right? After this show, and so
He
you
looks
might
like
have
a golfer,
to,
right?
you might have to throw me some things that I can rock on the golf course, because I'm trying to tell B that the apparel on the golf course is taking off. It's all about that leisure wear.
Yeah, I got you, no doubt. And my thing is, I want to see something a little more sporty, a little more, hip.
Thought I'd spice things up.
Yeah.
You feel me? You got to spice it up a little bit. But, it's something I've been working on myself and D-Wade for a minute. So
nice.
Hopefully soon we can have something for everybody.
And we were talking about Dwayne Wade. He did a Golf Digest thing with Tiger Woods that just got released, this full video thing. I see him all up in your comment section all the time, commenting on Instagram with you guys. I mean, what's he doing with the Utah Jazz right now?
Just having a great time. To have ownership in a basketball team is definitely a lifetime goal for guys, especially inner city guys like myself, like D-Wade. We never think of things like that. That's kind of like outside the box for us. So to see him be able to, go to a team, especially some young owners that's just as hip as him, have a lot of knowledge and in the business side. So I'm pretty happy for my boy. I know a lot of the Miami people weren't too happy about that.
I seen that.
Really?
Seen
what
that.
did they
Heat
say?
culture, man. You know how they get.
You already know, man. It's for life, with us. Even with me, man, they really embraced us, those guys, from day one. So they were a little bit upset, but, it's a business move.
Right, no doubt. And so draft day, today's draft day, and you were obviously in the NBA draft coming straight out of high school, and Pat Riley made the phone call to you. So first, talk about waking up on draft day as a kid knowing, like, man, I'm entered the NBA draft. I'm in the draft. I'm projected to be a first-round pick. What was it like waking up, doing your routine? What was the first thing you did on draft day?
First thing I did was, just make sure everybody that said they were coming to the house was coming. I had to get on my mom. My mom knew nothing about a draft day party.
Oh, my goodness.
So I'm like, Mom, we got to go get, something from a bunch of stuff from Costco.
No doubt.
You know
no
what
doubt.
I mean? Make your
get a spread or something.
Yeah, make your little
alcohol,
spread. Get us right.
Stuff. Yeah.
So, it was just exciting just to know my life was getting ready to change. I did 24 workouts. Wow. I was all over the place. So just the fact that, all that hard work I poured into the game was really getting ready to pay off, and didn't know where I was going. I was actually supposed to go higher than where I went. So just the fact that I won a few slots before that was pretty fun, man. I had a great time on draft night because it was all my family and friends.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most special days of your life, looking back on it. Yeah, Pat Riley was a legend. I'm sure you knew who Pat Riley was ahead of time.
Yes.
It's funny because I'm seeing all these different draft prospects kind of go through it, and I think we're so in the bubble and everything's so current to us. It's like Bob Myers, Steve Kerr, Steph Curry. But to these 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds, these are the guys they grew up watching.
Yeah.
And I kind of trip off like whoever whoever they decide to pick, whether it's one guy, two guys, whomever, this guy's world's going to be rocked playing with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Bob Myers, Steve Kerr. These are larger-than-life personalities.
Yeah, these kids are getting younger and younger in this draft, so these are people they can relate to. These are people they watch when they were in middle school. We see these pictures all the time with Trae Young posing with all the NBA superstars.
Yeah, all the time.
And now he's a superstar, so it's pretty impressive to see that these kids were fans. And with me coming in the league, I played with Shaq my first year.
Right.
Being an LA kid.
That must have been huge.
That was crazy to me. You know, the fact that we traded for him, I'm like, yo, I'm getting ready to play with Shaq. And then me watching Pat Riley for all those years with the Lakers, Showtime Lakers, it was surreal. So I told a great story the day of my press conference, how my mom used to take me to Summer League. I always wanted to go say something to Pat Riley, but I never had the guts to go up there and say something to him. So the fact that the first time I had a conversation with him was when he drafted me.
Wow, so that phone rings, right? You're sitting there at the draft party. You're nervous. You're sliding a little bit, as you just explained, and Pat Riley calls you.
Man.
And you're like, Miami? Did you have any idea what Miami was like? You're a young kid coming from L.A., a big city, but it's like, man, I'm going to be 18 years old in South Beach, Miami? Like, Miami, from what we see on television, is an entirely different world.
I'm going to tell you a quick story what happened before I got picked. So that whole day, because it was, daytime on the West, DeLon annoying himself kept coming up to me after every pick. When you going to get picked? When you going to get picked? It got so annoying where I had to tell my mom, like, hey, man, can you come in and get DeLon because he's in here annoying me.
How old was DeLon?
I was 18. He had to be, 12, 11?
Wow.
You know what I mean? But he kept being annoying. When you going to get picked? When you going to get picked? Why you ain't call you yet? Why you ain't call you yet? And, I'm nervous. I'm like, dude, if you don't leave me alone. So I had to go tell my mom on him. You know what I mean? So that happened. And then my agent, peeps around the kitchen door like, hey, man, you think you can handle Miami? And I'm like, yeah. He was like, okay. And I sit there, did 3 workouts for Miami. I went there twice, and they came to my high school to see me. So when that pick came, I got a little more, got a little hot.
Right.
A little spicy in there. And, they called my name, and Pat Riley gets on the phone, and they like, man, can you handle Miami and this and that? I'm like, yeah. I had no idea anything about Miami, just Miami Vice. That's the only thing I knew about it.
Yeah.
But when I got there, I understood why they asked me, can you handle Miami?
Yeah, it's wild. I love Miami.
Right.
Yeah, I love Miami.
It is the best.
Spice things up.
That's what happens in Miami. It's a different world out there. I can't go there anymore.
I got a question
won't
about
give me permission.
Yeah, I got a question about Wiseman on you in a second. But who's got better hair, Brandon Crawford or Pat Riley?
Pat Riley.
He's a Dodger fan over here.
That without
He's a Dodger fan over here. Of course he's going to say that. By the way, Dodgers in second place, Darrell. I don't know if you did that.
Yeah, we just one game behind.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll
tamp that down. Tamp that down. Let's get into James Wiseman, because you're a guy, you came straight out of high school, and you go to the Miami Heat. Heat culture, Laker lifer essentially, and Pat Riley, one of the NBA's greatest executives, done it at every single level. And I'm sure that was a huge transition.
Yeah.
You're playing with Shaquille O'Neal, a guy you grew up, idolizing and watching. James Wiseman coming basically straight out of high school, right? And throw in the pandemic, throw in the COVID stuff that's going on internally for himself, and then the inability to practice for the team. Is it even fair to make an assessment on what James Wiseman is right now?
No, you can't. Yeah, his last game was in high school. Well, he played 3 games at Memphis, right?
Yeah.
And then all the things you just mentioned, the pandemic, no practice. That was a terrible rookie year for him as far as the development and, being able to get around guys nonstop and learn the game. So I think a lot of people are overreacting. I think Wiseman has a big upside. He showed us flashes, so it's like, how can you not see that?
Right.
You know what I mean? The ability to post up, the ability to step out at the 3-point line and knock down shots, and the ability to run the floor and block shots. So it's like, you see it. Right. He just needs more time. And he's 19 years old. I didn't even play when I was 19.
I'm glad that you said that. And like, your brother's in the league now in the social media era. It's crazy.
Yes.
I mean, these guys are getting floated around left and right. I'm sure you've had many conversations with your brother on it. He's 20 years old, and Warrior fans, like, not all of them, but like, they're just ready to, every Instagram, every Twitter, trade the guy. He's weak. He's this. It must be really difficult for these guys to try to cancel out all that noise and just focus on themselves. And then you can't play because you're hurt right now. That's just a tough grind.
It's tough, man, but that's just the new world. People feel like they have an opinion all the time with everything that happens in the world. So if you're a young player, I think these guys are way better because when social media came out, I was in, my 6th year on Twitter, and D-Wade and Q-Rich had to pull me to the side like, bro, you tripping, because I used to respond to everybody. I used to go in like, you got me messed up, this and that, you don't know nothing. So I think these guys are doing an awesome job.
Right. Yeah. They're prepped a lot better, right? Yeah. I mean, Jordan just said the other day, like, I couldn't play in today's era. They would have broke me because Michael Jordan, on how competitive he is, would have probably tried to do what you did, Darrell, and respond to everybody. So you go to Miami as a rookie, Shaq, there's Antoine Walker, there's Gary Payton, there's Dwayne Wade, Lonzo Mourning, another veteran. Of course, you have Pat Riley there. What do you think the veterans are telling James Wiseman, and the veterans on this club, obviously being Draymond Green, Stephen Curry? What did the vets do for you that made you comfortable as an NBA player?
The thing that they did, they took me under their wing. And I was such a good rookie where I listened to everything they told me. I didn't take nothing for granted. I never came with an attitude, you know what I mean? And the biggest thing they told me is your time is going to come. And, when you're 19, you don't want to hear that. Your time is going to come. What does that mean? You know what I mean? I was just the best high school player in high school. And why am I not playing? So I think the thing that they relayed to me all the time is your opportunity is going to come, because those guys went through it. None of those guys really played right away. They had to wait their turn to be the man. So I think I know Steph, Clay, Draymond, all those guys are doing a great job of just letting them know is run your own race. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Don't worry about what everybody else is saying. Just continue to get better, and your time is going to come to blossom and show everybody what you can really do.
I think a lot of the Wiseman talk, the draft talk right now, the different trades, everything kind of centers around Steph Curry. And everybody's losing their minds about the window of Steph Curry. I go in the other direction. I'm like, man, I'm looking at Chris Paul, who's been hurt way more than Steph has throughout his career. And I'm looking at just how their games might translate as they start to age. Jason Terry's a good comp, I think, for Steph Curry as far as playing off the ball, playing really well until he was 40 years old. And I think Steph's way more talented than Jason Terry, and he was a great player. But, like, do you think that Steph has that I gotta win right now sense of urgency the way the fan base has? Because that's been a big talking point in terms of trying to get someone who can help them now. The hell with the future.
Of course. When you're competitive and when you won at the highest level, it kind of gets addicting. That's what Michael Jordan was, why he was who he is.
Right.
Kobe Bryant, all these great players. You want that feeling all the time. And I just talked to Chris Paul because we ended up beating his 16U team down in Augusta. And, I congratulated him with the season. And he was like, that mess felt good. Like, I got to get back. And he in his 16th year, and he's feeling that type of way. So just imagine what Steph feels, and he's been there 4 or 5 times already.
5 straight years.
Yeah, 5 straight years. So I'm pretty sure Steph is hungry. He's trying to find ways to get better. And we see his body changing, getting better, getting stronger. So I think he's one of those guys it's going to be up to him when he wants to stop playing.
So when you talk about how competitive he is and how much he wants, the disease of more, what your former coach Pat Riley said, the disease of more. And they go to 5 straight finals. All right, Steph gets hurt a couple years ago, breaks his hand, plays in like 5 games. They win 15. Last year they get close. They get the AC, but they lose in a playing game to Memphis. You think Steph wants to see the Warriors make a big-time move? If you're a veteran and you're sitting back saying, man, we're this close, but I'm not sure a 19-year-old's going to help us right away, and I'm in my prime right now. How do you think Steph is looking at this draft right now?
Well, yeah, Steph is one of those guys where he wants to compete. He wants to play for something. So, yeah, if you're the franchise player, that's the conversation you have. We just saw Damian Lillard put it out there. Hey, man, for us to win a championship, we need X, Y, and Z.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you out here, you playing for something, you competitive, yeah, you're doing the best you can to have conversations with Bob Myers. Like, hey, man, let's get somebody that can really come in right away and help us. It couldn't be a 19-year-old. We have seen that before, but I'm pretty sure Steph needs somebody that's going to help him win right now.
And what do you think that looks like? I mean, if we forget the players, we'll rat-a-tat-tat some of the players, but like, what specifically are you looking for to add to this team right now? Is it a playmaker in the half court? Is it some defensive specialist out on the perimeter, a big man? Like, what would that be if you were going to kind of like focus on what you're looking for in terms of skill?
I think it's more athleticism. They need more athleticism, and they need more fire off the bench. So if I'm the Warriors, I'm going to get somebody like Darrell Wright, somebody that could come in a game.
Love that.
That could get in the paint, that could dish the ball out and make everybody's job a lot easier. You know, that Sean Livingston role, another Iggy guy.
Right.
So get another guy that could come off the bench and be active and get stops on the defensive end and create offense like that. So that's what they need. They got all the offensive firepower. They just need pieces that can fit in and not have to have the ball, that can defend at a high level, and that can play make as well.
I will make you a guarantee. If they bring DeLon Wright in, I will be rocking the City College jersey throwback in the front row at Chase Center. All right, Justin LeBaw's out there somewhere.
Right.
Justin,
No
I'll
doubt.
see you at St. Brendan's.
Coach Adam.
Get me that jersey ready to go. If they get DeLon, I'll be wearing that in the front row.
I don't know if they got the DeLon jersey available, man. I gave one to
Custom.
Darrell,
Yeah,
and I
I got
gave
one.
one to
Give me the
DeLon.
custom.
Man, we got to make a new one, man.
gotta make a
That
new
jersey
one
was
for
like
sure.
down to the knees, but DeLon Wright would be great. Like, we talked a lot about
I
him
want
last
him.
year, but it's not just because he's your brother.
Right.
It's because, as you mentioned, the Sean Livingston role, and DeLon can hit the three.
Yes.
And he's always in front of somebody defensively. That's the type of piece. You imagine a backcourt with Jordan Poole and DeLon Wright off the bench?
Now we're cooking.
Now we're cooking with something here.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Warriors are that far away because Klay Thompson's coming back.
Right.
How do you think Klay Thompson's going to come back here? Because we had just had a caller saying, Klay's not going to be the same Klay. All right, early on he may not be, but it's not like he's going to forget how to shoot.
Right. He could do that forever. And we just saw Kevin Durant have a great, awesome season. So I think with Klay seeing that, I think he understands, like, he has the opportunity to come back and be himself again. And I think he's going to be himself. I know he's hungry to get out there and play. And I know the Warriors are going to do whatever it takes for him to be healthy 100%. Before they put him out there. So I think Klay's going to come back and be himself. Obviously, he's not going to play every single game, every single minute like he has done in the past. But I think slowly but surely, once it's that playoff time and it's winning time, we'll see Klay out there really helping his team and be successful how he's been in the past.
So we got a bunch of the guys on the current team right now, and there's some development that needs to happen. Wiseman, Poole, there's other guys that we can pick from, whoever they end up drafting. You're at the coaching level. You're trying to develop young men right now. You've played in the NBA as a young man. You've been developed. You're seeing some of the changes that the Warriors are doing on the bench side of their player development. Talk to the people about what that actually looks like for some of these young guys, because I feel like we've kind of not talked enough because it's not something that's sexy to talk about. But the coaches that are with you every single day, how can they really help some of these guys take that next step forward?
Man, those are the most important people. You know, I still to this day credit a lot of my success in the NBA to Keith Atkins. Probably not a big name, but he was one of those tough guys that went out there. He competed at a high level. He was mean. He was the Miami Heat type of player. And, you know, every single day he challenged me to be better. He fixed my shot. I was shooting the ball kind of behind my head. He got it in front of me. And, you know, it was long days. And me and Keith used to bunk heads a lot, too, you know, almost to fisticuffs because he wanted me to be so great. And me being so young, I didn't see that. You know, I'm like, man, why is this dude on me so much, you know? But it helped me in the long run. I think that's the most important job in the NBA now is developing these guys because AAU basketball is horrible as far as development.
What have I been telling you?
We've talked
I've been
a lot
saying
about
it for months. It's individual basketball.
Right.
They don't know how to play without the ball.
Right.
No one wants to play the screen setter. No one wants to box out. You're not seeing sophisticated sets offensively.
Is that the biggest issue? Like, what is it? The parents who think their kid is a star?
It's everything. It's from the trainers to the parents to the athletes.
Thank you.
The attitudes, you know, the entitlement, and, you know, just a lack of knowledge and IQ on how to play the game the right way. So we see the highlights. Everything is highlight. You know, I get a lot of my kids tell me about kids like, oh, man, this kid can do this and that. And I'm like, really? I go YouTube the team. I watch a whole game, and I go back to the kid. Hey, that kid that you see that 1 minute highlight, he not like that. You better than him. So I just think that it's a lot of steps that's being skipped. And I think the most important thing is developing the kids. And these kids are getting younger and younger in the league, so you need the proper guys in there to develop these kids.
How much has that affected the NBA game today? Because we see the NBA game now where it's become kind of redundant in terms of how teams play.
Right.
3 balls, layups, teams try to ignore the mid-range. What we see in the Final Four, teams like the Phoenix Suns, like Milwaukee, embrace the mid-range game. The Warriors embracing the mid-range game. How much has the AAU circuit now affected the NBA now? Because it feels like it's been a trickle-down effect with the AAU circuit really blossoming over the last 15 years.
100%. It definitely has its effect on the NBA. And those teams you named, they also hold their hat on the defensive end. You know what I mean? You could jack up all the threes you want, but are you getting stops when you need them?
Right.
And Milwaukee does that. Phoenix Suns does that. And a bunch of other teams that's out there that's pretty good, hold their hat on a defensive end. But I think the chucking up the threes, and Mully say this all the time, what are we practicing for? We just going to shoot threes and spit up shots, the floater, like he loves to call it. So, yes, it's definitely has its effect on the NBA. It's just going out there and just doing whatever and living up with those results.
And I think one of the frustrating things for Warrior fans, when you look at like someone like Draymond Green, a lot of the things that he does don't fill into that box score that you see at the end of the day. Yeah, okay, maybe you see assists and rebounds and things like that. What about the communication on the defensive side? What about him sliding his feet over or helping someone? I think he's a great help defender, and he slides over, and that guy doesn't shoot. Instead, he throws it to someone else. So now he's affected that entire play, and they have to reset it and go to the top. Someone like P.J. Tucker, like I look at someone like him, how can you even begin to describe how important P.J. Tucker was to what Milwaukee did? Yet we're not even trying to look for the next P.J. Tucker in this draft. Right? We are looking, I want the next Giannis. And Giannis is great, but it's so hard to find a Giannis. Where's the next P.J. Tucker types? And I think those are the kind of guys that are going to help the Warriors. As much as Bradley Beal is so talented and he's so great, they need more P.J. Tucker types to kind of fill in the gaps on this roster. It's so hard to find those guys, Darrell.
How would Bradley Beal fit with the Warriors?
I think he'll fit well. The fact that he's a two-way player, he can get a stop on the other end. He is a high IQ basketball player, and he can score from anywhere on the court. So I think Bradley Beal fits well. I like Brad Beal.
But would it fit with the Warriors? I mean, obviously, you just said it. Two-way player, can play D, can light it up on the scoreboard. 6'3", you have Steph Curry, you have Klay coming back. You probably have to play Klay at the 3, coming off that injury. That kind of scares me a little bit. And then wherever Draymond Green is at with this offensive game, is it worth gutting the team, though? Is it worth the Wiggins, Wiseman, and all these assets in the draft?
I don't know his contract situation, but I think he's another piece that you can go out there and win with. He's competitive. He loves the game, and he wants to win as well. So I can see it working.
Ooh, Bradley Beal. Ooh. You warming up to it now, Shasky? Because I've been out on Bradley Beal, too. We both been out on Bradley Beal.
It's a lot to give up. Look, again, in a vacuum, of course you like Bradley Beal. He's a very good player, but there's a lot of things that I think like Andrew Wiggins hasn't gotten enough credit for. His shot contesting, his ability to stay in front of people and stop dribble drive. Dribble drive penetration is the most underrated thing in the NBA right now. When I watched Phoenix and that offense humming, they were blowing by people, Campaign, Chris Paul, whoever, Booker, and then they're swinging the ball around. You can't rotate in time. And that was the hallmark of the Warriors. The ball's moving and teams are rotating. That's how you get the wide open threes. I think we just, threes. No, good three-point shots. That's the thing that I look for. And that's why I'm saying to myself, if I could find someone who can help create for them in the half court, and alongside Jordan Poole, alongside Steph Curry, that's going to really open up their offense.
A lot of people thanking you, D. Wright, on YouTube and Twitch right now. We're streaming live. They're saying, thank you, D. Wright. We need Bradley Beal. We need Bradley Beal. Talk some sense into these knuckleheads here on the Morning Roast.
I think Wiggins has been devalued, and you watch him every single night, and I think the narrative from Minnesota carries over here, and it's not true.
Not true at all. Sorry. I thought Andrew Wiggins had an awesome year. One of his best seasons in the league. The fact that he came in, his demeanor never changed, but the fact that he played it on both ends, two-way wigs that
Two-way wigs. I feel like we started that.
Yeah, we kind of started
that.
that.
Let's steal the credit for that.
Let's forget sixth man of the year, Eric Paschal, but we'll remember two-man wigs.
Hey, Eric Paschal, 6th man of the year for like 2 weeks, and he got hurt. Man, he got the coin. It's like, hey, what are we doing? Hey, but it's better than the Jordan. What was it? The Maple Jordan.
Oh yeah, that was.
We had to punt on that one. We had to punt on that one. But he shocked us though, Wiggins last year.
He shocked us, man. The fact that he went out there, he made shots. When he was with that second unit, he was the playmaker. He was the offensive scorer. He kind of set those guys up, and I thought he had a great year. I don't see what people aren't seeing.
Thank you.
With Wiggs, man, he had a great year, man. And then he showed me so much I didn't even know. And I played against Wiggs plenty of times. I'm like, dang, I didn't even know he had that.
Seeing him smile on postgame with you guys, I've never even seen him smile. I'm dead serious.
He doesn't say too much in the postgame, but he will smile.
Yeah, he'll smile.
We gotta like pull teeth to get some words out of Andrew Wiggins. But we had Darrell Wright in studio as we get ready for the NBA draft. NBA champ, of course, with the Miami Heat and former Golden State Warrior, now doing big things on Warriors pre- and post-game live. We'll talk draft coming up here, some of the players that he likes. Of course, here in the studio, Joe Shasky, Bonte Hill, the Morning Roast with Darrell Wright.
The Warriors' future. timeless coffee.
Bonte, calm down. Joe, slow your roll, pimpin'.
With Kate, Bonte, and Shasky.
Thought I spiced things up.
We thought we spiced things up with Darrell Wright live in studio here. This beat is hard.
Yeah, what is this?
What is this, Langford?
Vince Staples, North.
Okay.
Look at him. This man right here, nice guy, Steven.
He spit some liquid hot magma earlier.
Oh, word.
Did you save that, Steven, by the way?
Did you say that?
I'll go grab it. Hang on.
Grab it and
gotta
play
hear
it
this.
before
We got to
the end.
get you to rate it, man. This is actually some fire.
Yeah.
Really good freestyle on the fly from nice guy Steven Langford.
Yeah, on the
Darrell
fly.
Wright in studio. And we're talking NBA draft. And don't forget, Bob Myers will join DRK later on today, live from Chase Center at 2:30. Your former agent, Bob Myers.
Well, let's talk about Bob before we get into some of these picks, because we were asking a question earlier today. You know, Farhan's the new guy for the Giants. He's the GM. And I feel like people are already giving him more love than Bob Myers.
Already.
Bob Myers has won 3 championships for this organization and brought the highest of highs that the Bay Area has ever seen in terms of team accomplishments. Who is Bob Myers the person to Darrell Wright?
One of the greatest human beings ever, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Bob helped me so much early on in my career. The best advice he ever gave me was move to Walnut Creek. So that's why I've been here for 12 years now. But Bob Myers is a caring guy. Super Bay Area, so he's going to do whatever it takes for this team to be great, and he puts a lot of heart and passion into that. So I really, really love what Bob has done for this organization, for the city, and I think, you know, there's more room for him to continue to grow and to continue to get better. So I'm happy for Bob, everything, because he's a great person. So whatever happens and wherever comes to him is well-deserved.
You're right about that. He is a great human being, and I think he's been a very good GM for the Golden State Warriors. Once won the Executive of the Year award, and people forget that, and they forget the Iguodala trade. They forget the Monte Ellis trade. And the development, people forget that under his watch, and, of course, this Warriors brass, Klay Thompson developed into a superstar. We didn't know. You played with Klay Thompson early on, where we had the whole Klay up stink. He couldn't hit a layup. He was inconsistent with the three-point shot. You had the Kevin Love rumors. Bob Myers, and that's wild to me that Farhan gets a lot of credit when the Giants haven't won anything yet under Farhan Zaidi. How much pressure do you think Bob is feeling right now, though, knowing that, okay, I have Steph Curry playing at an MVP level. I have Draymond Green, Klay Thompson coming back, and I've got young James Wiseman. I'm trying to develop him and still win at the same time. How is Bob Myers the GM? Knowing you know Bob the way you do, what is Bob feeling like right now? How's he feeling right now on draft day?
Man, that's a good question. I've never really seen Bob panic or, be too nervous about the situation. I feel like he's one of those guys that's going to figure it out. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to call him about a little situation. He's like, it's fine, Darrell. It's fine. Just we'll figure it out. So he's always been that chill guy that really doesn't get sped up or let that outside noise make him make some type of decision. So I think he's gonna make the best decision for this team. I think he's been doing a great job of that, and I think he knows who can help this franchise. And the thing about Bob, he's going to listen to those guys. He's going to listen to them and see what what the guys on the team think works for this team, and then he's going to make that executive decision as well. So I think Bob, I think he's good, man.
Well, that's good to hear, because that's kind of like me and B's relationship. He's the panicker. I'm the calm one. He seeks counsel from me. I'm like Yoda to him, at times. So now let's look at 7 and 14.
By the way, Darrell saw you on IG Live when we were talking quarterbacks. He saw you tearing down the 1942 shots, losing
your boy
your
was
mind.
enjoying himself. What's wrong with that? It was
Until I brought up Mac Jones.
Up, baby.
Until I brought up Mac Jones.
I mean, we got to get Darrell over to the crib one time to watch one of these UFC fights. It goes off at the Shasky household, all right? We barbecuing. We got the wet bar. We allow Bonte to come over, but my wife tells him to keep the voice down because he gets a little excited.
My girl tells me the same thing when baby Chad's asleep. Keep your damn voice down.
So right now, 7 and 14, you're Bob Myers, okay? You're sitting there. You've had conversations with Steph Curry. Let's say the trade for a superstar player is off the table for right now. Are you taking both picks, or are you trying to package to move up? Is there a guy that you're intrigued with at 7? Do you like somebody at 14? How are you going to manage tonight?
With me, I'm going to go with the best available. But at the end of the day, that best available could be a trade. So I think they're going to do the best job as far as seeing all their options. Mm-hmm. But if I did have to draft, I'm going to go with the young kid, Jonathan Kuminga from the G League. I really like his game. I know he's been dropping in the draft, but it might be smoke and mirrors because, my close friend Bobby Brown played with him all this year down in G League in the Walnut Creek, and he didn't hear none of that stuff that they saying, or see that.
What's he say about this kid coming? Because that is a guy that the Warriors have been linked to for quite some time. Small forward, power forward, 6'8", 205, got 7'2" wingspan. What are you hearing about him as a player?
First off, a beast. He's strong. He's athletic. He can score in bunches, and he's one of those guys that, you just put him out there, he's going to figure it out. So I love him coming off the bench for this team or just being another piece to this team. And I think his future is bright. I think he has a high ceiling because he's raw still. He got that athleticism, a lot of talent, and he can shoot the ball as well. So I think he can really help this team.
You brought up athleticism, and I'll let you get in there, B, because Kelly Oubre, for all the things he wasn't, boy, he was a shot-in-the-arm athleticism.
Man.
I mean, they needed him attacking the rim the way he did, and they have nobody else on that roster that attacks the rim.
Right, and I think that's something Jonathan brings to the game. If you see some of his highlights or watch any of his games, he puts so much pressure on the rim. And the thing with Kelly Oubre, when his shot wasn't falling, he always found something. He always found something else to do, whether it's get deflection steals to create his own offense or attack the rim, or get offensive rebounds. But I think Jonathan can definitely come in here and kind of be that Kelly Oubre if he buys into, hey, I'm here to win and I'm here to develop and get better. I think he could be a perfect fit.
Speaking of Kelly Oubre Jr., we'll get back to the draft in just a second here because there's a lot of players to discuss and talk about. Kelly Oubre Jr. has been on a couple podcasts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's been on a couple podcasts. Darrell is saying that the universe wants to keep him in the box. And, he wants to go to a culture that embraces him. It felt like the Warriors tried to do everything they could to embrace Kelly Oubre Jr., and he had some fine moments there. What was your takeaway from Kelly Oubre Jr.? Because he really did struggle early on in the season, didn't know where to be on the floor. The three-point shot was clanking off, and it's like, maybe you want to chill off the three-point line. And the season played out. He got better and better. Then he got hurt with the wrist injury, and then he comes back and comes off the bench. Wasn't too thrilled about that, even though he was getting 30-plus minutes a game. What's your big takeaway on Kelly Oubre Jr., the player? What can he be in the NBA? Because it doesn't look like the player he wants to be is going to happen out here in the Bay Area.
I think it's all up to him. He could be a great role player, or he has that in him to be a superstar. You know what I mean? I don't want to say a 10-time All-Star, but he has the opportunity to be an All-Star one or 2 years out of his career if he puts his mind to it. And I think he approaches the game with a great attitude. I think even though he struggled last year with his jumper, he still tried to find ways to impact the game. And when he was hitting his jumper and he was defending at a high level, we saw, glimpse of somebody that could be a star in his league. So I think it's all up to him and his mindset. I know he's a real, forward thinker, the wave god and, the tsunami poppy.
Wave god.
You know what I mean? The chain chokers.
Hey, the Pikachu pants. The Pikachu pants.
Man, you know what I mean? So
he was wild.
He's definitely a swag champ. But I think with him is I think he's one of those guys that has to play in front of a crowd too. When he plays in front of that crowd, he's a different player.
Right. Because, Warrior fans are so down on Kelly Oubre Jr. right now. But if there were fans at Chase Center, I feel like he's the type of player that Warrior fans would love.
Oh, man, they would love him. They would love him because he feeds off that energy from the crowd. And, with this pandemic year and not having any fans, you could kind of see that. Because if you go back to his old stuff, he looking in the crowd, he doing his little, was that a hair whip?
Yeah, the hair
whip.
Getting
whiplash and all that.
The first down, you're too small. Yeah. Like, he was doing all that flexing. Yeah. He's doing everything, Shasky.
So the thing that I find interesting with Kelly is that the spacing just didn't work with him and Draymond and Wiggins, specifically, Wiseman, those three on the court at the same time. It felt like they wanted to occupy the same thing. And the way I look at him is he's got to be in a perfect situation where, by definition, maybe he's a 2 or a 3, but by style of play, he plays more like a modern power forward.
Yeah.
Because he wants to attack the rim. And, he could step out and hit it a little from the outside, but he's best when used downhill, right? And it just didn't work for him. Have you been in a situation like that in your career where it's like, this just doesn't fit for me? I like a lot of these guys. I'm going to try to make it work, but it just doesn't fit.
Yeah, that's part of the game. Every situation is not going to be the best. That's why you get 1 or 2 superstars on the team, and everybody else got to find their way. And I can't say one team I felt that way, but I understood. That's how I had longevity in the league too. Understanding my role.
Self-awareness.
If I'm here to knock down shots and defend, that's what I'm gonna try to do at my best. If my coach gives me the opportunity to bring the ball up and play pick and roll, I'm gonna be able to do that.
Our text line here is ridiculous. They're a lot of fun. We love our roasters here on Twitch, YouTube, and a text line. The 831 wants to know, hey, D. Wright, can we name drop you at Prime 112 and live to get in when we're in Miami?
100%. Go holler at my boy. Go holler at my boy Miles at Prime 112, the owner, or holler at my boy Shane, who's the promoter at Headlines Sunday, live on Sunday. So definitely drop my name. I'm always good in the MIA.
Ocean Drive.
What a flex, man.
Hey, Ocean Drive. I went out there in 2019 with my wife, right? And we went to Wet Willie's, because you're walking by. That place is insane.
Yes.
12 o'clock on a Saturday, and it was packed to the gills, out of control. Real quick on the Miami
Did he go to
nightlife.
King of Diamonds?
No. I was with the wife, bro. I was with the wife. I was trying to turn down, not turn up. Tyler Hero trying to navigate the lifestyle of Miami. Is there any coincidence whatsoever that, like, in the bubble, spectacular? Unleashed on Miami, nowhere near the player he was in the bubble.
I think it was just a tough stretch for him. I think Tyler Hero is a great player. I think he has a lot of upside, and he's young too.
Yeah.
Right. I think he'll figure it out, and he's in the best place to be in Miami. And if he is out there, I guarantee you Pat knows about it because he's had plenty of conversations with me. And the funniest one was him telling me I need to stay off South Beach because I was too young. I need to go hang out at University of Miami. And I looked Pat dead in his eye and said, Coach, I'm at University of Miami too. I'm doing everything, baby. I'm on South Beach. I'm at University of Miami. I'm in Boca Raton. I'm everywhere.
A little Coral Gables.
Florida Atlantic.
Oh, my
Florida
God.
Atlantic. He's everywhere. Darrell Wright in studio here on the Morning Roast. Also was a great baseball player that we found out during the season. Was a great baller, and he's a Dodger fan, but we won't hold that against him. Reigning World Series champions, whatever you want to say about the Mickey Mouse tree, whatever. It's all good. It's all good. I want to get back to the draft, though, because there's a lot of players in this league. You talked about Jonathan Kuminga, who before the draft process was a top 4, top 5 prospect. Now it seems like he's sliding. Is there anybody worth, like, if the Warriors wanted to move up in the draft, to say they move 7, 14 and a future asset, is Jalen Green, Jalen Suggs, Cade Cunningham, or Evan Mobley down in that in L.A. at USC, is any one of those players worth a haul like that?
Of anybody, it'd be Evan Mobley. You know what I mean? Just the upside he has. He's like 7'1". He's tall, he's long, he's athletic. He knows how to play the game. And I always like the little brothers. He has an older brother that's been beating him up his whole life. And you see, just like, I could say this now, DeLon has took off from me. He's took it off from his big brother. So
he doesn't have that D-right pump fake.
Nah, he don't got that, though.
There's something to be said for that. How many times you played a game or you've coached a game and all the little brothers and sisters jump out onto the court, and the second there's a stoppage of play, how many games did DeLon watch of yours growing up? Like, there's always, he's right on this. The younger brother always coming through. Which brings me to Wagner, the kid from Michigan. He's another guy. He keeps getting mocked to the Warriors. How do you like that fit? He's the younger brother of somebody who was drafted a couple years ago.
To be honest with you, I don't know much about him. I didn't watch too many college basketball games this year at all.
Did. We're all the same. We were working all the time.
Yeah, I don't really know much about him. What does he do?
He's 6'9". They say he's got real good ball handling for his size. More of a defensive anchor. Kind of a yawn pick for me if I'm the Warriors.
So is this the 14 pick?
They're saying 7.
Yeah,
seems like a reach to me.
I think Warrior fans wouldn't like that.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, I mean, the one game I watched with Michigan, they played UCLA. The final score was like 51-49, and I just didn't see a big man just hanging out on the 3-point line. I don't know. What about Davion Mitchell? Because the Warriors tried to back up point guard spot last year with Brad Wanamaker, didn't work out. What did you like for Davion Mitchell as we watched the Final Four with Baylor winning the national championship?
Always a champion, so you always see that. So he knows what it takes to be a winner. So he's going to go out there and sacrifice small things. So I think he's a big-time player. Reminds us of the other Mitchell in Utah. But I like that pick. That wouldn't be a bad pick in my opinion. I think he's a competitor. He plays hard. He's strong. He's athletic. So I think he could be one of those guys that you could plug in here and be successful.
I feel like when we're doing the math on who the Warriors should take and who we can count on next year, the guy that I don't see how anyone can sleep on him, but they are, is Jordan Poole. At the end of the season last year, he was the second best playmaker in the half court.
Man.
He was the only one who wanted to bowl in both those closeout games.
Facts.
Like, this kid is going to be really – is he going to be Jordan Clarkson level good next year? I don't know. But don't you see, like, his trajectory is pointed straight up, right?
Yeah, I thought he did a great job with bouncing back from going to the G League. And we always got to let it be known. It's not a demotion when you go to the G League. That's an opportunity for you to go play and work on your game. He went down there for 6 or 8 games. He did well. He came back, and it translated. And that's all you want from a young player. You want to see that young guy develop. You want to see that young guy get comfortable. And he was super comfortable once he got back. So I don't know why people are canceling him out. I really like where Jordan Poole game is right now, his attitude, his competitiveness on the defensive end, and also, like you said, being a playmaker.
Right.
You know what I mean? Being a playmaker and understanding.
And he's got an it factor to him with the swagger. You got to have like an arrogance on that floor.
Yes.
And he uses that swagger. He toned it down a little bit, but, I think he shocked a lot of people because a lot of people were down on him. He got off to a rough start for the second straight year. But for the second straight year, went down to the G League, got better, played well, and averaged 15 points per game when he got back from the G League. And he's a guy you could count on. You can count on this guy in crunch time.
If LeBron doesn't hit that shot, we remember that game for his three-pointer in the corner, the little pump fake one. We completely have forgotten about that. That was a huge bucket for the young man.
It definitely was. Jordan Poole, if he can be consistent each and every night from 12 to 15 points, the Warriors are looking good. You draft well, or you go get a free agent or a trade, you in the game.
And the buyout market, a veteran's going to want to come.
Yeah, for sure.
Come looking at the roster saying, Clay, Steph, Dre, okay, Wiggins.
There's minutes.
And then you got Poole down on the bench. That's a good fit.
I'm watching a ton of Pro-Am stuff come out from Jordan Poole, and I want to go down the rabbit hole just real quick before we get on out of here on the Pro-Am stuff. Years ago, Kezar, Steph showed up, and it's still iconic to this day, and he goes off. Did you ever go to Pro-Am, and is there anything that we can take away from some of these things other than, wow, look at some of these NBA players go up against some of these guys that are amateurs?
Yeah, I went to Kezar plenty of times. I used to go there 2010, 2011.
Bay Dream? Who were you on back then? I'm trying to think some of the team. Bay Pride?
Bay Pride. I know we're yellow. I forget.
That's SF City.
SF City.
Yeah.
I went down there a few times. The atmosphere was awesome.
Crazy.
We all know that the Warrior fans are the best fans, and they're going to come out and support. So, I always went down there whenever I had the opportunity.
I screenshotted this the other day, July 19th, 10 years ago. I had a Facebook status when we were all active on Facebook.
Yeah.
Word on the street is, I thought I was breaking some news here. I thought I had sources. Word on the street is Matt Barnes, Darrell Wright, Kiwi Gardner, Cardell Butler will be holding it down at Kezar tonight.
Oh, wow.
Should be fun. This is July 19th, 2011. I took the screenshot. I was like, I got to bring this up to Darrell.
That is hilarious.
Did Reggie Milligan give you that update?
He probably did. He probably did give me some smoke.
We got a friend, Big Reg, and he used to sit there. He did the whole scorers table and everything. I mean, Pro-Am at Kezar was a thing, and I think that people sleep on basketball in the city, but Kezar as a vibe and for the pros to play there, it was always special to see Jason Kidd, Gary Payton, Brian Shaw, some of these guys come back, and for Steph and you guys to come play there, it meant a lot to the city.
Yeah, you get an opportunity to go play in front of fans that, admire you, look up to you, whatever the case may be. And a lot of these people don't have the opportunity to go to Oracle or Chase to watch you play. So to have an opportunity to see you play for free is pretty special. And me being big part of the Drew League success down in LA, it's in the inner city on the east side of Los Angeles, and a lot of people pull up this is really we in the trenches right now.
Right. I'll be pulling up there, Gilbert Arenas. You playing in the Drew League this year? Or you done?
Hey, Bonte, I don't play basketball no more. I'm a full-time golfer.
Hey,
okay?
You and me both.
Full-time golfer.
Hey, I got to be honest, though. He had all the kids in the gym, one of his IGs, and they're trying to have him throw down.
Right.
You can still get up and rip rim.
Oh, yeah, man. Them kids had me all the way twisted, Bonte and Shasky. You can't dunk it. They always challenging me, man. I think they just want me to do it. You can't dunk. But I ain't going to tell you, when I got up there, I felt like I pulled something in my lats.
So let me get, you and your oldest son, one-on-one, is he trying to take you down these days? Like, what's going on? Because my dad, when we would battle in the backyard or we go to the park or whatever, it took a long time for me to finally beat him, and I knew when it was serious because he was breaking a big sweat, and then he had excuses for days, and I never looked back after that. Has that happened yet for you?
No, we don't play one-on-one yet, just some, messing around. We do shooting contests because, I got a young sniper. Yeah, I got a young sniper right now.
I seen him from the corner. He's got a nice little catch and shoot.
Yeah, he got a nice jumper, so he's beaten me one or two times in that. But, Got to give the little man some confidence,
Right.
man. Got to let him win here and there.
He is shooting the ball well, though.
Yeah.
He's shooting the ball well. There's no doubt about that. The AAU circuit, what you got, Shasky?
Okay, before we get out of here, I want to pump up the next show because I'm telling you, it is going to be nothing but draft coverage. Whitey, JD, and Dibs. They got NBA analyst Seth Greenberg on at 11 o'clock, but the whole entire show, it is draft-focused. Bonte, take it away. I'll be driving home listening to
no doubt.
Whitey, JD, and Dibs.
Yeah, no doubt. And don't forget Bob Myers at 2:30 joining DRK at Chase Center. We'll be on television tonight.
Yes, sir.
Late night. Nice. We're back on the tube, man. I got to go get cut, Darrell.
Man, I had to get one yesterday, baby.
Yeah, I see you looking fresh, man. The waves are back.
Yes, sir.
Hey, by the way, the fashion, D-Wright blows it away.
Yeah, of
like,
course.
people were trying to compare me, man. You need to step your game up. I can't compete with D-Wright.
My dad calls you the lumberjack because you always want to wear those like flannels and whatnot. My dad says to him at the house one night, Bonte, you got to wear a suit every single time because you got to establish yourself as being credible. You can't just keep up with the fashion of Darrell.
No, I can't.
That's
He won the
hilarious.
fashion award at NBC. I still feel like it was rigged, but we will have the cardigan back. We'll have some things going on. But D-Wright was a lot of fun on television last season.
Yes,
Looking
sir.
forward to tonight as well, man. We had a ball.
And in September or October, when things dial down,
I
we're
knew
all
this
going to
was
go out
coming.
golfing,
Okay.
and we're
I knew
going to
this
put
was
it on
coming.
IG. We'll throw it on YouTube. We'll have a good time. We'll go to a real fun course. We'll set this up, and Bonte can drive the cart.
Okay.
Does that
I'm with
sound like a deal?
I'll
Let's do
sip
it.
and drive the cart.
Yeah, what?
I'll sip and drive the cart.
I'm totally with that.
Yeah,
I'm
do a little
100%.
sip in there.
Great time.
Yeah,
Great time,
don't
great
get
time.
a doolie on the course.
I'll try not to. I'll try not to. It depends on the heat, too.
Oh,
we go
yeah.
out there to the creek, man. It gets smoking out
Oh,
there.
yeah. It's
Hey.
in the hundreds for sure.
Bro, I played Diablo Creek with Covey last week. Oh, my God. This city boy, anything over 65, I'm like, it's a
Same
little hot
thing.
for me.
I need
was
hoodies.
crispy.
Yeah.
I mean, crispy out there.
I need hoodies, man. Darrell Wright, a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us
Easy.
today.
Thanks for having me, fellas. Thank you, thank
he
you.
came in here,
Gotta spice things up.
and
Yeah.
he did, and he made some dreams come true.
And I heard they make dreams come true.
Sure, Darrell.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
wifey's probably not thinking about that. Darrell Wright, everybody, NBC Sports Bay Area, pre and post game live, co-host, of course, NBA champion, former Golden State Warriors, Shasky. We'll be back tomorrow to break down the NBA draft. What's going on
My
here?
dad's texting me in right now. He's like, don't forget to get me in that foursome.
Oh,
I'm
gosh.
like, damn, Dad.
So he's a beggar. I see where you get the begging from. Papa Shasky's a beggar.
Shamelessly
Damn. Like
right
father,
now.
like
This is your
son.
dad.
Like father, like son.
That
No
is
doubt about
hilarious.
it. By the way, Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo not in the lineup for the Chicago Cubs. Could they be traded to San Francisco Giants? Trying to hold off Darrell Wright's
Wait,
LA
what?
Dodgers.
Rizzo?
Trying to hold off.
Oh, man.
Dodgers got enough firepower, man.
We gotta
need
do
Chris
this again.
Bryant.
We
We
gotta
definitely
do
will
this
do
again.
that
I'm
again
glad
during
you
the
did, man.
season. Darrell Wright, everybody. Give him a round of applause. Oh, real quick, the freestyle from Stephen Langford. We got to hear
Hit
that
it to
coming
me.
out. Give it to us, Langford, when you get a second here as we give Darrell Wright a nice little applause.
Appreciate it, fellas. Thank you.
Just give me the beat. All right, Steven. Wait till he's. Oh, here
there
we
it
go.
is.
All right.
There it is.
All right, give me the beat. We're going to do this live. We're not
All right.
We're not going to
We're
record.
going
We're going to do
live.
this live.
Let's go.
All right, Steven, get in there. Wait till you see Trey Lance. Wait till you see Trey Lance. Wait till you see Trey Lance. Did you see? Jalen, how you doing, Niner fans? Let me whisper in your ear. Tell you something that you might like to hear. Trey Lance got a video, 5,000 views. Jimmy G's out there swearing on the news. I don't know.
I know. The light changes and you're a little...